Yes, sir. Get that energy going for the final day of Rugby League for round 25 this year. Let's get it going. Hey guys, how you going? So down BK Sport, we are live as the Newcastle Knights will be playing host to the Brisbane Broncos in the first game of a two-game slate, where you will see later on today the West Tigers taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. And this day, it doesn't look exactly like it's going to be the most fantastic of days. Doesn't look like it's going to be the most fantastic of days. Oh, that's the women's game of the Knights women. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this Newcastle Broncos men's game up here so that I've got it ready to rock and roll so we can watch on as hopefully the Broncos win for my Titans to give us a chance of avoiding the spoon. At the end of the day, my team ultimately deserves the spoon with our current situation. It's a good wake-up call. It's a great wake-up call, actually, for a lot of this club, as you would have seen. Jeez, I'm dying right now. I am dying right now, but it's a great wake-up call for a lot of a large part of our organisation right now. Let's put it that way. But guys, let's get into this game here today. Newcastle Knights versus the Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's smash it out. So the Newcastle Knights, they come into this game from 16th position. The Brisbane Broncos come into this game from 6th position pre-round. They are 7th position now, however, after the Sharks obviously received their bye, which jumped above them. This is a huge game here for the Broncos because they are guaranteed. Well, they're not actually mathematically guaranteed for the top 8 right now. If they win this game, they are guaranteed for the top 8. They are mathematically just solid. They're straight on in the 8. But if they were to lose this game, there is still a decent chance. There is still a decent chance that they could actually miss out on the top 8. But I do think that they'll win of one of this game or the next game against the North Queensland Cowboys, which will guarantee them in. Anyway, I've got them in the top 8, but there is actually a chance if one of the Dolphins, Manly, or Tigers points differential is awful, but the Dolphins points differential is close enough. Anyway, we'll get into the ladder in a second, but point matter is, Broncos in 7th position. This is at McDonald's-Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Now, the ins here for the Knights, Elijah Celeste, Leo Moana, Fletcher Hunt, and Phoenix Crossland, with the outs being Brodie Jones, Gregi Matsu, and Matthew Arthur. Now, the fullback is Dane Gagai, who is the captain. He shifts in from the centre to the fullback, with the wingers being Dominic Young and Fletcher Hunt, who comes in from the 21 into the wing. Centres are Bradman Best, and they put James Schiller from the number 19 into the centres. So they're changing around their team quite a bit here today, the Newcastle Knights. They kind of have to, but at the end of the day, they've put a couple of extra guys in that weren't meant to be playing today. Now, number 6 is Jake Arthur. The 7 is Jack Cogger, with the front row forwards being Jacob Saifidi and Leo Thompson. Number 9 is Phoenix Crossland. Back row, Jermaine McEwen and Kyle Paul, with the 13 being Tyson Frizzell. The interchange of Jaden Brayley, Matt Croker, Thomas Cant, and Elijah Celeste, Leo Moana. And the 18th man replacement is Connor Vitano, with the coach being Adam O'Brien. I think when it's these early morning games for me, it's obviously only 10:50 a.m. for me in Vietnam. Sometimes my English is a little bit all over the shop, especially when I'm having to speak very slow with the locals here. So sometimes I have to really readjust to get back into being my Australian self and English being my native language. But yeah, I apologise for that. But that is the Knights team here today. Look, ultimately, they have been really poor this season. They had a really poor game last week against the Cowboys where they had like 17 errors. Cowboys had 23, but the Cowboys still absolutely whooped them by like 40 points. So, yeah, Knights aren't really that great at all this season. They've been awful, and if they get the spoon, they deserve it. If the Titans get the spoon, they deserve it. It's just as simple as that. They have been the two worst teams in the comp in 2025 so far, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, there's only 3 rounds to go, inclusive of this one. 2 rounds after this round, after this game finishes, or after the next game finishes, and we're not too long away from finding out who actually does ultimately get that spoon. Now, the ins here for the Broncos, Fletcher Baker. The out is Jack Gosiewski. The fullback is Reece Walsh, with wingers being Josiah Katapani and Dean Mariner. Centres of Katoni Staggs and Gehamat Shibasaki, with the 5'8" being Billy Walters and the halfback being Ben Hunt. Front row forwards are Corey Jensen and Payne Hart, with the number 9 being Corey Pakes. And then you go to the back row, Jaden Hunt and Jordan Ricky. 13 is Patrick Carrigan, who is the captain. You go to the interchange, Tyson Smoothie, Kobe Hetherington, Ben Talty and Jesse Arthurs, with the 18th man replacement being Fletcher Baker, and the coach is Michael Maguire. This Broncos team, they need to fire up right now. They just need to win one game of their final 3. Just one. They do play the Storm in round 27, and the Storm will probably be playing for a minor premiership at that point, despite the fact that I think they're without Harry Grant now if he does get that suspension. So they do just need to win one of their last 2 games, and the next game obviously does come up against the Cowboys as well. This game they realistically should win. I am going to tip the Broncos here. I am going to tip the Broncos 13+. Realistically, they should be doing it. But with that being said, they do still have Ezra Mam out. They do still have Adam Reynolds out. They do still have Xavier Willison out. There is no Selwyn Cobbo for this team. There is a few players in and out, shake it all about, that just aren't able to get a full-strength roster for the Brisbane Broncos. So, look, I do think they still should be able to win this game regardless. And 13 plus might be a little tiny bit ballsy, considering this is Old Boys Day here for Newcastle. And I know they should fire up for it. The Knights are a bit of a tricky opponent there sometimes. Like, sometimes they can turn out to be one of those grindy teams, which they have been for a few years now, but not necessarily this year. They haven't got a good record at home by any stretch of the imagination in 2025. But I don't know. It's just the Broncos, sometimes their attack is absolutely free-flowing and they can score 60 points against the Rabbitohs Z team, and sometimes they can really struggle for points too. But they did score 38 points to the Dolphins last week. However, the two games on either side of the Dolphins game, the Dolphins also conceded 64 to the Roosters, and then they also conceded yesterday to Manly like 58 points. So out of the three games, the Broncos actually scored the least of the three, only at 38, but only at 38 is a crazy statement to make. That's just how bad the Dolphins are right now. So I'm not necessarily going to say that is a big telling point. The Broncos are still absolutely firing with this team. Today, they really should put a score past the Knights, and next week, they really should put a score past the Cowboys, but we'll wait and see. We will wait and see, and we'll get hopefully see the Broncos get rocking and rolling, which is what their team still should be able to do against this poor Newcastle Knights outfit. Now, in regards to the ladder, we do have the Newcastle Knights in 16th position. They're on 18 points with a minus 186 points differential. Now, if they lose this game, they will stay in 16th, but they'll still be well entrenched into that wooden spoon battle with the Gold Coast Titans with 2 games to go. Again, the Titans play the Dolphins next week, and then they play the Tigers in the last round of the season. So 2 relatively easier matchups, but with that being said, the Titans, nothing's an easy matchup for them. So don't really worry too heavily about that. However, the Titans just need to win one game, and they'll go above the Newcastle Knights. If the Knights lose their last 2 games against the Sharks, they play next week, and then I'm not too sure who they play in the final round of the season, Newcastle, but they just need to win one more game to guarantee themselves away from the spoon. But if they lose both, it really comes down to the Titans just winning one of those games. So for the time being, they would be in 16th position, but they are 15 points differential better than the Titans, minus 186 to minus 201. That is with an extra game played, though, as the Titans obviously played yesterday against the Warriors. If the Knights are to win this game, they also will stay in 16th position. The Cowboys are on 21 points, Rabbitohs are on 22 points, Eels 22 points, and Dragons 22 points, so the Knights can't go up any higher. But again, they win this game, they would avoid the spoon, because I just can't see the Titans winning both their last 2 games. I don't think the Knights win the game against the Sharks. Actually, I will just see who they play in round 27 here, Newcastle. Round 27, the Knights will play against the Eels. So the Eels had a good win against the Roosters yesterday. They had a really good win against the Roosters. So I don't necessarily believe they'll win that game either, but at least it's a technical easier matchup because the Eels are still down there in 13th position. With that being said, though, I'm not backing the Knights for a win this season for the rest of the year, and I'm also not backing the Titans in, so it's probably just going to finish in 16th and 17th there for those 2 respective teams. But look, the Knights, they've not had a good year. Let's just see if they can get a bit of pride about their team, especially on Old Boys Day down here at McDonald's Jones Stadium, and they are going up against an opponent that can score points when they are on. Now, the Broncos, they're in 7th position on 30 points by themselves. They've got a plus 114 points differential. Now, if they win this game, they would go above the Panthers into 6th position because they are on 31 points, and they would go equal with the Sharks on 5th position. But the points differential for the Broncos is plus 114, whilst the Sharks are plus 67. So the Broncos would go above the Sharks into 5th position, but because the Warriors won yesterday, they can't go into the top 4 because the Warriors are now on 34 points. If the Warriors had a loss, the Broncos actually could have had a win here for a top 4 position. But obviously, that wasn't to be because the Titans are a rabble. The Broncos with a win would go into 5th position, and that would be how it ends this weekend. If they are to lose this game, however, there is no team that could jump them this week. They would stay in 7th position for the time being with that Roosters loss yesterday. However, they would only be 2 points clear of the Roosters. They would only be 4 points clear of the Dolphins, Manly, and then we'll see if the Tigers are 4 points clear. They're 4 points away from them. The Tigers beat the Cowboys today. So that could be 3 teams that are really close to them with 2 games to go. That Storm game is obviously very menacing. The Cowboys game is a tough one because the Cowboys can score, but also are pretty awful this season. There's a reason why they're in 3rd last, and despite the fact they scored 38 points last week, they still had 23 errors, and their defense can be very, very lackluster. So, look, I don't know. Like, the Broncos will stay in 7th position, but it will be really kind of nerve-wracking times for them because it does mean that the Roosters are still going to be super close. The Dolphins are still going to be super close, and same with Manly. And the points differential for Manly is at +4. It's not too much of a worry for the Broncos at +114. However, the Dolphins are at +81 and the Roosters are at +72. So they're not too far away as we currently speak. But overall, Broncos with a win 5th, Broncos with a loss 7th, and that would just keep them in a battle for the top 8 rather than being guaranteed. So that's pretty much how this game here goes today, guys. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. I am tipping the Broncos 13+, but we'll just have to see kind of if their attack is flowing, despite the fact that they don't have their 2 star halves there of Ezra and also Adam Reynolds, and also if their forwards can get going here today with no Xavier Willison. But with that being said, they've still got majority of their forward pack available that should be able to get the job done based off of names. Paddy Carrigan, obviously Origin for Queensland and also Australia. Jordan Ricky, he's an international for New Zealand. I have my doubts overall. I don't think he's coming on as a player. We've spoken about this many times, but he is a New Zealand international. Payne Haas, obviously international for Australia, now also for Samoa, and is New South Wales. And guys like Corey Jensen, Corey Pakes, Jaden Hunt should be still able to do the job. So ultimately, I do think the Broncos win this game quite well, but they do have a slip up in them. And obviously, yesterday's game between the Roosters and Eels shows you that no one's a guarantee. No one's a guarantee, because the Roosters should have been a guarantee against the Eels, and guess what? They were not. They were absolutely not. But guys, obviously, like I said, thumbs up, subscribe. Let's get to the chat. Let's see what you are saying. And so I'm just checking in on my phone here very quickly. Yeah, all good. All good. We're ready to go. Sean James, good morning, mate. Get around you, Sean. Scott James says the Broncos lose, should go straight to scam. Ben Hunt 350th game, crazy journey. Yeah. No, Ben Hunt's 350th. We saw Sherry Evans and Manly get a massive win for his 350th yesterday. They actually debuted a day apart back in, I think, 2009, maybe? 2009? I think it was 2009. Maybe these two guys debuted. So it's funny that they're both having their 350th the day after as well. And Ben Hunt's obviously leading the Broncos out here for today. Axel says Bronx fan here. Olivia says here's to hoping the Sunday afternoon curse didn't happen today. Also, Olivia, have to let you know. So I went out and I searched for the rice hat. I couldn't find it, but I did see one when I was at a market the other day. So this week I will get it and I will wear it for maybe the Friday games, maybe the 2 Friday games. I was going to wear it obviously for today, but I just wasn't able to get it. So don't worry, I haven't forgot about it. I have not forgot about it. I will wear it, and I wanted to wear it for today because these 2 games don't exactly look like belters. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it this morning and last night. So we'll get it for next week. Axel says, "Can you watch this game on live TV?" I am watching this game on live TV on Fox on watchnrl.com here in Vietnam. Snake games is what try scorers you got. Hard game to read in a lot of ways, but, I would back in. I'd actually say Reece Walsh is good for a try here today. I'd say Reece should have enough pace to get around this Knights team. Gehaman Shibasaki could be a good shout. Wouldn't be surprised with a bit of Corey Pakes action. And you know what? Even though I'm not a big fan, I'd say Jordan Ricky could be a shout here against the Knights if he's good enough. So that's for the Broncos. For the Knights, though, I'd be looking, again, at guys like Fletcher Hunt or Dominic Young, which is an easy answer with the wingers, to be fair. But in regards to the front rowers, and maybe Kai Pearce-Paul in regards to a back row position, but overall it's a bit of a tricky game to read in regards to try scorers and the likes. A little bit of a tricky game here. But the Knights have run out into the field, same with the Broncos, and we are about to get underway here for the day. Lagan says, no, you can't. Next one. These games this week have been insane. Yeah, Friday was insane with Raiders-Panthers and also Bulldogs-Storm. Thursday was still entertaining, even though it was a 40-0 blowout for the Rabbitohs over the Dragons. Warriors-Titans might have been entertaining for other people, but not for me. Not for me. Roosters-Eels was quite fun last night. Manly-Dolphins was fun if you like high-scoring affairs, which I'll accept, but with that being said, there was no defense from either team in that game, but it still was entertaining in some form. Nikhil says, evening all. Yeah, no, not evening for me, mate. Not evening for me. It's 11 a.m., but get around you. And the Knights will kick it off. So thumbs up, subscribe, and the Broncos will grab the ball at the 5 through Josiah Kotapan. No, through Dean Mariner, and they'll get this ball out here to the 15. And it'll be first tackle for the Brisbane Broncos. Jaden says, disappointed in the Knights. As bad as the prediction as it was, I had them as one of my dark horses for this year. Why? Thought they might have been a contender for the spot in 8th or 7th by the end of the season. I think that's based. Sure, okay, that's based off of previous years. Broncos shifted it very early, and Shibasaki third tackle at 35. I think that's based off of previous seasons, but I'm really not too sure why you would have had the Knights up there. I did have them for the bottom four, as I usually do, and usually they're pretty good for it halfway through the season, and then the back end they just try to save Adam O'Brien's job realistically. So yeah, look, this Knights team, I really couldn't. I don't understand how you would have had them there, but let me know why you thought they were a smoky for a top 8 position with the roster that they have, especially considering they changed their halves around a lot. You know, Kalaponga's got a lot of questions about the impact there in the fullback position nowadays on a consistent level. Their forwards are sometimes grindy, but you know sometimes they also just don't get anything going. Dom Young, what are you doing? What is the offload there at their own 10? But anyway, second tackle here for the Knights at the 10. Let me just make sure this is refresh score. Yeah, the score is Gucci. All good to go. All good to go. Andy says, do you think it was a try or no try in the Storm vs Dogs game? It was a no try. It is black and white. It is blatantly a no try. The only people who think it was a try are people who, one, haven't probably watched the game in 10 to 20 years. I still can't believe we're actually having this conversation, to be fair. I actually can't believe we're still having this conversation. But again, guys, it's black and white. Like, it's literally black and white. He does not regather the ball. You have to regather the ball. You have to regather the ball, lads. You know, if he didn't touch it first, it's a try. But he did touch it first and then didn't regather the ball. It is a no try. There is no debate about it. It is not a question. There is no question here. Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still talking about this? It's not a try for Stephen Crichton, lads. Come on. Like, what are we doing? Why are we still on this? Why are we still on this? Brocky says, hello. Get around your Brocky. Sen says, good to see you again calling this game. I'm always here, Sen. I'm always here every single game. Third tackle with the Broncos, and they'll be at the 40 on the night side of the field. Peter says, Broncos are in the must-win position, and as a supporter, I won't get a loss. Look, they must win this game on the basis of who they're playing. They're away here on the right-hand side, and it's going to be Tony Staggs. Staggs here inside, 20 metres out. Oh, he goes at himself, and he'll be taken down 10 metres away for tackle. Broncos already on the attack here early. Ben Hunt, he goes inside. He gets the offload away to Staggs, and that will be a try time. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Staggs off to a good start. He's had a good back end of the season. It's 4-0 with the Broncos with a kick to come. 4-0 with a kick to come. Party says, why Titans first? Because they haven't lost a game all season, mate. Have you been watching the same rugby league as we have? Come on, mate. This is a serious channel. This is a very serious channel. Actually says he's a Titans fan. That's why. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. We've all watched the same. Highland says 100-0 incoming. Oh, Party, I can see you lasting about 3 seconds here before you get removed. That's for sure. Literally just enjoy the game, man. If you're not here to just enjoy the game and have a bit of a laugh, well, then we'll be seeing you. All right? Yeah, and he lasted less than 3 seconds because Jay's already timed out for 5 minutes. Hey, Party, why don't you just read the room? Why don't you just read the room and have a bit of a laugh, mate? No need to be a knob. How about that? How about that one? You like that one? Jay says, you two should get a room. Yeah, they're definitely going to get a room together. Brocky Sports says, try time, bing bong, mudder, beesh. Highlanders says 100-0 incoming. Well, that's a good start here for the Brisbane Broncos. That's a good start. And Tony Staggs looks like he might have a field day out there on that right-hand side. Looks like he might have an absolute field day. Jaden says, Knights 58-6 Broncos. Have you made that prediction based off of this one try here? have you waited for the Broncos try to then make that? Were you going to say 58-0 and then you had to remove it and put 58-6 after the Broncos try? Scott James says, what does the hat look like? Is it like a cultural hat or something? It's basically what they wear outside. You know, it's very stereotypical when people think about Vietnam. It's one of those like pointy like rice hat things, and I thought it was a stereotype at first, but when I come over here, they all wear them outside. It's a hot day today. I'm sure they're all wearing it today. Like, not everyone, but there's a lot of people who wear those hats. They're cool as... Oh, hits the post for the Broncos, and it will stay 4-0. We'll say 4-0 to the Broncos. Reece Walsh is kicking here today. Highland says, if Broncos win, do they go to 5th? Yes. Art of Lim says, I need a beast game for real. A beast game? Oh, I'm not too sure if this is going to be a really red-hot game in regards to like high competitiveness, but I do think that it should be red-hot game in regards to points of the Brisbane Broncos based off what we've seen from the Knights in recent weeks, and also how they started off this game. A couple of offloads have gone straight to grass, and their kick wasn't great, which put the Broncos into an attacking position, and it was a very easy try for Tony Staggs in the end. Leprechauns at the Broncos. Yeah, good stuff for them. So they will get the ball here at the 5. Ben Hunt does catch this ball. I know, shock horror. Payne Haas to the 15. And it will be first tackle. But no, I think, yeah, it is like a cultural hat, but it's also very efficient. Like, it is efficient because it comes out and it blocks like everywhere from the sun, rather than obviously how we wear hats, just like a cap, and it just blocks the front of your face. These hats, they like cover the entirety of the, like, your shoulders, the back of your neck, also your face and whatnot. They're cool as. So 4 tackle here at the 35 for the Broncos. When is Adam coming back? I believe first or second week of the finals, provided they make it. They just need to win this game here today, and they've made it. Highland says Tigers to make the top 8. Oh my gosh. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. That's a great pass from Reece Walsh. And Tony Staggs is away here. He's away. That's knocked down from the Knights. Broncos will get the ball again through Staggs, and it'll be 6 again, 20 metres out from the line for the Broncos. Well, it looks like this is going to be an absolute pumping today. Reece Walsh, they will get that ball to the 15. He steps. Now he gets to the... He's still going here. Oh my gosh, this Knights defense is hilarious. It's hilarious. It really is hilarious. The Broncos will get held up over the line, second tackle. But, like, they've got 100 metres and 2 tackles, lads. And Todd Smith is going to check this in the bunker, but he will be held up. You can put your shopping in those hats if you forget a bag. Hey, you may as well. You may as well. But Highlanders, I want you to get the cognitive thinking process out, and I want you to give me the explanation for how the Tigers make the 8 from here. Go and have a look at the matchups that the Roosters have, the Dolphins have, the Manly Seagulls have, all 3 teams who will be above them, even with the Tigers win here today. 2 games to go, and then also look at the Tigers' next matchup against the Canberra Raiders next week, who they have a phenomenally bad record against, who are in first position right now and just beat the Panthers. And then, yeah, sure, they should beat the Titans, but I'd love a real solid explanation how the West Tigers, with a minus 107 points differential and currently 6 points away from the top 8, or 4 points away from the top 8. I would love for you to explain to me how that happens with all 3 of those teams losing. But, good luck. Anyway, held up. Third tackle here, 5 metres away. 5 metres away. Schlagen says Tigers make the 8 by shenanigans and plot armour. It would take the biggest miracle of all miracles. Oh, there's a knock-on from Paddy Carrigan, and the Knights will get the ball here at the 10. Dane Gagai, 0 tackle. Peter says, Walshy to get the man of the match for the second time. Well, if he's going to get a space like he has already today, then sure, but Tony Staggs is looking like a good shout. Tony Staggs looking like a great shout, potentially, for man of the match with the way this game's played. Second tackle now for the Knights at the 20. Mounty says, Tigers lose today, their season is mathematically over. Realistically, it's already over. Realistically, it is already over. Again, I only reply to that to Highlanders there because I know he's a Warriors fan. And it's like, if you're a Tigers fan, I 100% understand why you're going to be backing in the miracle. But if you're a neutral, it makes no sense to kind of say the Tigers will make the top 8 because it's just unrealistic. It really is. At the end of the day, the Roosters, yeah, they played the Storm. And then, in the last 1 second here. So next week, the Tigers would need to win all 3 of their games because Manly, Dolphins, and Roosters will at least one of them will win one of their games, right? So next week, the Roosters take on the Storm, the Tigers take on the first place Raiders, and then you've also got Manly taking on the Dragons. Realistically, it should be a win there for Manly, and the Dolphins take on the Titans, which realistically should be a win there for the Dolphins. Right, so let's assume the Roosters lose. I'll go through it. That's a penalty to the Broncos at the 38 on their own side of the field. Let's go through it. So let's say the Tigers beat the Cowboys today, okay? Which they should. They should beat the Cowboys today. So then there's going to be 3 teams on 26 points. Now, Manly are on +4. Dolphins are on +81, and the Tigers are on currently minus 107 minus. Let's assume they go and win by 20 points. All right, they'll take them to minus 87. Now, the Roosters are the ones in the 8 with a plus 72 right now, and they are 2 points clear regardless. So that means that ultimately you need to win all 3 of your games because the points differential is not going to be in the Tigers' favour. Broncos away here, Josiah Kotapani, and that is a try time for the Brisbane Broncos, and it is 8-0. I'm pretty certain he gets there. I'm pretty certain he gets that. It's going to be 8-0 with a kick to come, and they will call it a try. So it is 8-0 to the Broncos with a kick to come. Okay, so let's get back into it. So the Tigers then go 26. Next week, let's go and say that they're going to lose to the Raiders. That's pretty much their season done there, right? But again, Dolphins and Manly are both more than likely going to win their game. Roosters more than likely lose their game. So that means that Roosters, Manly, and Dolphins will be on 28 points, and the Tigers would be on 26 points. And then round 27, the Manly Seagulls play the Warriors. You know what? For your sake, for Tigers fans' sake, I'll say the Warriors win. All right, they're on 28. Manly finish on 28. Let's say that the Roosters lose to stay on 28. And let's against the Rabbitohs, even though that's not going to happen, more than likely. And then you go down to the Dolphins, who play the Raiders. Let's say the Dolphins lose. So that's all 3 teams on 28. And let's go and say the Tigers beat the Titans. And that's all 4 teams on 28. Well, how do you expect me to believe that the Tigers, with a minus 107 points differential currently, is going to be better than the plus 4, plus 81, and plus 72 of the other 3 teams? So again, sure, you can back in as much as you'd like, but it's very unrealistic to think that's going to be happening. They would need, basically, those other teams to lose their games. Lose all their games. Anyway, so Reece Walsh is going to take this to a 10-0 ball game, you would expect. You would expect a Mundos. Geez, the Wallabies got close, though, last night against South Africa. They got close. Obviously, South Africa won, but good game. Reece Walsh will miss a kill. Oh, curl back in, but actually does still hit the post, and it will be still 8-0 to the Broncos with 10 minutes gone in this game. 30 minutes to go the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Oh, here we go. And Party's been hidden. What did he say? What did the old Party say? Jay's just sick of it. Funny says, what are the Titans' realistic chances of making the top 8 next season? Funny Cat Vids, listen, I'd love to be the first person here saying the Titans are going to make the top 8 next year. I'd love to be the first person to say the Titans are going to win the comp. But there needs to be so many changes. Like, if you guys watched my Instagram story last night, like, for them kicking out a fan, I did get told, like, I got to give you the honest... I got to give you an honest view as well, though. So a person from within the club also messaged me about the story. So there was a situation yesterday at Seabus Stadium where a fan posted up on Instagram, who's an NRLW fan of the Titans and obviously a men's fan as well, but they were kicked out of the Seabus Stadium, and they said that it was because of their flag, and they said it was because they were holding their flag and waving their flag proudly, and they were fine, and when the Fox and all that were taking videos of it in the women's game, but then as soon as the women's game finished, he was kicked out for having his big flag or whatever. That's his side of the story. Now, I was messaged from someone within the club, who I'm not going to obviously mention, saying that apparently this person was abusive. Apparently this person was being extremely abusive, and that's why they actually got kicked out, and it was the right thing to do. So take it for what you will. Obviously, that's one side, and there's another side. Once again, Knights are away here at the 20 to the 30 through James Schiller. He's at the 35, the 40. And good run there from James Schiller. So it'll be first over for the Knights at the 40. So there is 2 sides to the story. Obviously, the club side is that he was abusive. The fan side is that it was because of the flag. We're never going to know, ultimately. But I did have a lot to say in regards to how the situation at this club is right now, regardless. I actually held back quite a lot too. The Knights will get the offload away, and they're away here. Fletcher Hart back on the inside. Oh no, it's a knock-on from Newcastle, and the Broncos will be 0 tackle at 23. They were away. That was their chance, and they make the mistake. Yikes. Scott James, be real. How's the Tigers beating the Titans? Mathematically impossible. Wait, what? Be real. How's Tigers beating Titans mathematically impossible? What are you talking about? When we went through it, I said that the Tigers probably beat the Titans, even though the Titans have a great record against the Tigers throughout history. The point of the matter is that you would expect the Tigers to win that game with the current form of both those teams. So I don't know what you're talking about there in regards to mathematically impossible. I never said that. Nintendo says, if you say you have a mathematical chance, you really have no chance. Well, Dolphins have a mathematical chance, but they do have a chance if they aren't as awful as they've been the last 3 weeks, giving up 160 points. Corey Pakes to Payne Haas, and it's going to be fit tackle now at the 35 on the Knights side of the field. Mounty says, I'm tipping Manly to give it to the Warriors in the last round. DCE last game at home, I can see a flogger, to be honest. I don't know. That's a hard game to predict because the Warriors were good enough yesterday. They were good enough yesterday, but there was large parts of the game where you're just like, if it was against one second, that's a penalty to the Knights here at the 15. If it was against a better team, they might have struggled, and they probably would have struggled quite a bit. There was a lot of lethargic play in that game from the Warriors, but at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do to win the game, and they did win the game. So that's just as simple as that. But no, look, Manly is still a bit how you're going. Yes, they beat the Dolphins by 58 points, scored 58 points yesterday, but the Dolphins also have been giving up points for free lately regardless. So that's a hard game to see the form of both those teams, considering the Dolphins have shown a trajectory of that same thing over the last 3 weeks and over the last 2 months, realistically. Whilst Manly, that was an outlier. So now let's see them go and do it again next week kind of deal. Ibrahim says somebody check on Brenton. I don't know if Brenton's going all right or not. Don't know if he's going all right or not. Lagan says the fact we have to argue Tigers are making or not making the 8. I just think they should be happy that they're even relatively in the conversation. But they're not in the conversation. But at least you can kind of mention them. You know, they should be very happy that they're even kind of... They're not going to be a bottom 4 team this year, you would assume. Knights now gets ball at 33 on 4 tackle. Ben Hunt should get the kicking job. Does Ben Hunt take conversion? Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Knights here. Kai Pearce-Paul will be at the 20. And it'll be fit tackle here for Newcastle. 20 metres out. And Phoenix Crossland, they put that ball up into the... Yeah, it's one-on-one at the back. And that was a pathetic attempt there from whoever the Knights player was, and Reece Walsh just grabs it easy, and he'll be taken down to the 12. Leon says, did you see that Muppet Journo talking about it was all Waz fans at the game yesterday and pushing Des about Dave? Yeah, I feel for Des there. I think that his response was fine. I think Des's response was good because he has no responsibility to Travis Main, who was the journalist there. I also will say that I want more people to put more pressure on the club, so I don't necessarily disagree that Travis Main was kind of putting that out there publicly, but I will say that it probably wasn't the right time to mention that comment about the fans and whatnot. But I do want more pressure onto the club. I just don't think that Des should be the one that cops that kind of a spray. The ball's going to bounce here. Will it sit in? No, we'll go for a 7-tackle set for Newcastle at the 20. I do think that comment is valid and viable to mention, especially considering the promise of, there'll be a Titans fan on every seat by 2030 that our organisation provided about 6 years ago. But I don't think it was the right place for Travis Main doing it. But ultimately, I do think that more people need to put pressure on this organisation rather than just myself. Jaden says, I'm a Sharks fan, but I hope Titans get something going sooner or later. Yeah, I hope so, mate. Reese says, can you see the Bulldogs missing the 4? No, they won't miss the 4. They're mathematically already in the 4. But missing the top 3 is a potential. They have 2 tough games against the Panthers and the Sharks. They just need to win one of them, but 2 tough games against the Panthers and the Sharks. And now 3rd tackle here for Newcastle, and they will be at the 45 on the Broncos side of the field. And a penalty. They're going to get an attacking opportunity here, Newcastle. Not their attack has been any good this year. They're exactly 300 points through 21 games. So they've had an awful attack this year, but at least they're going to get an opportunity. They are the only team currently that have not scored 400 points. They are at 300. They are a whole 110 points behind the Eels, who have been the 2nd worst attacking team of the comp this year. 110 points scored less than the Eels. They are 121 points scored less than the Rabbitohs. They are 154 points less than the Titans, who are in last position. But obviously their defense has been much better. Much better. All right, so Knights here at the 20. It's going to be 2nd tackle now, 10 metres away from the line. Kai Pearce-Paul, good run to the 5, 2nd tackle. Highland says, see, Warriors can still finish 3rd, so it'll be exciting to see what happens. Weren't you saying that they were shithouse the other day? 3rd tackle as a Warriors fan. Oh, they've offloaded the ball. Luckily, it goes backwards and it'll be 3rd tackle. No, it's going to be a knock-on from the Knights. Oh, first backwards, and then as he regathers it, then it's going to be a knock-on from the Knights. Okay. Axel says, my dad saw the Rays try and he wasn't even surprised. What do you mean wasn't even surprised? That was the craziest try we've seen in a long time. They're going to challenge us here, Newcastle. They will challenge it. Mounty says, you're right, though. Manly could put 40 on Melbourne one week and lose to Tigers the next. Yeah, well, they beat Melbourne 18-16 and then, went on a 4-game losing streak. They beat Melbourne in Melbourne 18-16 and then proceeded to go on a 4-game losing streak. Okay, the challenge here, Knights, that's backwards. It's going to be a knock-on. They lost their challenge. They've lost their challenge. They have lost their challenge. Scott James says, BK has an Eels fan asking you to come support the Eels. Yeah, that's Hayden. That's entertaining us. No, he was just obviously super happy about how yesterday would have gone for the Eels. Good on him. But I'd rather throw myself headfirst into a brick wall than support the Parramatta Eels. Lagan says, fun fact, if Tigers win today, it'll be their first 3 wins in a row since round 4 to 6, 2018. Yikes. Geez, that's a long time between drinks. Party says, you're the only guy who does this stuff that's actually good. I appreciate you, man. Broncos now get this ball to the 15. Please, can you unban me, bro? I just want to chill out. I'll use this account, man. There's so many people hidden on this this channel. Penalty to the Broncos here. I'm not going to go through it all, but you can use this account. Just obviously, kick back, man. And okay. Olivia said no. Oh man. No, nothing against the Eels, but no, thank you. I'm happy to stay in the trenches of the Titans and just hope for the best one day, man. Hope for the best one day. Leon says, after yesterday, the Rabbits fans will be buying tickets to the Roosters' funeral. Mate, if the Rabbitohs can prevent the Roosters from making the top 8, they will call this a successful season. They will call this a successful season for them if they can be the ones to knock them away. Because I don't see the Roosters beating the Storm next week. Despite there's no Jerome Hughes or Harry Grant for the Storm, they've still been pulling up with second man up. And a good pass across the left-hand side to Josiah Katapani. And Katapani, he sets in, and he'll be 20 metres away. He steps again. He'll be 15 metres out for tackle. Even like the Roosters have no Sam Walker, so big yikes for them. Billy Walters, he'll be getting the offload away. Broncos knocked his ball back. Ben Hunt at the 10. He steps around again. This Knights defense today has been putrid. The amount of missed tackles they've had would already be close to probably 15 and 20 in 17, 18 minutes. And Broncos step. This is fit tackle. Billy Walters. I don't know what he's doing. That is absolutely pathetic. So it'll be Knights ball here at the 10. Charles, who do you think this is the best offloader this year? Oh, that's a very niche question. Individual player who is the best offloader this year? That's super niche. Geez, that's a very difficult question, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's a very difficult question. I'd need to have the team list in front of me to really kind of go through and knuckle down in regards to all the players across the competition. Junior Polo used to be really heavy on the offloads. I mean, not so much necessarily anymore. You know, Tina would obviously be up there, but like if you've put that question out there, you'd have a couple of names on the top of your head. So give me a couple of names and I'll go through it because that's a really difficult question off the top of my head to give you a good answer. They'll be outside the 40 and it will hit the 24 anyway. So Broncos will get the ball 24 metres out from their own line. Everyone says, or maybe stalk his social pages like that other bloke. Send an email. Juzzy Pass has tuned in. Are the Knights going to score this half or nah? The question should be: the Knights going to score or nah? Not this half. Leon says Haas. Yeah, Payne Haas would definitely be up there. He'd definitely be one of them for sure. Second tackle now for the Broncos at the 35. I think he's got one or two already today. 20 minutes into the first half. 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Max One says, who's your favourite for 8th position? If the Dolphins weren't playing the Raiders, I actually would have still said the Dolphins because they do have the Titans next week. It probably is. Oh man, it's really hard between the Roosters and Manly. I just don't know about the Dolphins. I don't know, but Manly's biggest weakness is their points for and against. Dolphins' biggest weakness is that they play the Raiders in round 27, and the Raiders will still play their team because they're still not guaranteed for a minor premiership. And the biggest weakness for the Roosters is that was awful yesterday. That was awful yesterday for the Roosters. So, and they'll be without Sam Walker next week, and their biggest weakness as well is that they play the Melbourne Storm, and then their biggest rivals in the Rabbitohs in round 27. So, oh man, like Roosters play the Rabbitohs, they should get a win, but they probably lose to the Storm. Manly, the Dragons and Warriors isn't the easiest of matchups, but they should be favourites against the Dragons, and the Warriors is a bit of a 50-50 in a lot of ways. Knights here at the 30 and hits the ground. Broncos get the ball. Tony Staggs, and he'll be taken down at the 38 on first tackle. Zero tackle, sorry, after the knock on. Chiefs and Knights. They love their mistakes, they do. They love their mistakes. Yeah, I'd still maybe say the Dolphins are a really good shout now with that loss for the Roosters yesterday, despite the fact that the Dolphins have given up so many points these last 3 weeks. So it's going to be first tackle here still for Billy Walters, now second tackle at 33. He definitely is not a 5'8", that's for sure. Leon says, Roosters for and against helps them out. They'd want Stormer to put 50 on the Chooks. Do you mean Dolphins? Yeah, the Dolphins' points differential is the only thing saving their bacon right now. Hyland says, is the top 8 closer this year compared to last? Yes, that's going to hit the grass. Broncos have made a few mistakes themselves today. It's just not knock-ons, but they are making a few mistakes themselves, hitting the grass. Their attack is obviously not free-flowing, but that will go over the... Why? Reece Walsh just kicked that ball directly over the sideline on 4 tackle, 5 metres out. Why? Yeah, Ben Hunt's asking the question, why? Why did Reece Walsh just kick that just then? I don't understand what Reece Walsh just did. Why? Why did you do that? Anyway, Knights ball here now at the 25. He just kicked, literally, if you're not watching the game, Reece Walsh on 4 tackle, 20 metres out, 4 tackle, 20 metres out from the Knights line, just kicked the ball over the sideline, 5 metres away. Why? Why? Brent says, I like your colour coordination today. Mate, I'm a fashionista. What did I tell you yesterday? What did I tell you? What did I tell you guys yesterday? I'm a fashionista here on the channel. Ever since I went to India, Thailand, now Vietnam, fashionista. This is not a sport channel anymore. This is just giving you advice in regards to how to dress like a madman, you know? Come on. And it's a serious channel. Knights here will be at the 40 on fit tackle. Leon says, Farnworth is insane to still be up there. Oh, Farnworth. Oh, Lagan says, 1 second, Broncos will get the ball at the 10. Good tackle for the Knights. Takes Reece Walsh down. Lagan said, top offloaders are Terrell May on 59, Carraz on 57, and Haas on 54, but I think it'll be bumped up after today. Okay. So, yeah, I would always lean towards a forward, which is why I'd look towards Terrell May or Payne Haas there, but I guess Payne Haas has to be the one. Tina would be up there if he wasn't injured for large points this season. Sean says, not a bad Sunday listening to yourself, beer in hand, kids swimming at the waterhole. It's not the beach, but no tourists. Mate, you got to love that. Hey, listen, fit tackle here for the Broncos, and they'll be at the halfway point. I will say, like, I'm a beach boy. I'm from the Gold Coast. Like, I love the beach. I need the beach. Next week, I'm going to head to a country just so I can go for a good swim in a beach, because Vung Tau here in Vietnam isn't great. I could go up north, but I have to leave the country for, to renew my visa. So I'm looking to go to a beach, but when I was in India, when I was in Udaipur, we found a really private, old quarry, like a lake, effectively, and it was no tourists there at all. It was just me and my friends, and it was so beautiful, mate. I tell you what, I never really respected the watering hole or the primetime lakes in the middle of nowhere until I went there, and now I'm obsessed with it because it was so good. The water was so heavy though, it was so heavy. It was such a heavy water that I could easily see people drowning if they don't know how to effectively swim rather than just knowing how to swim, because it's different water. And there's another mistake here from the Knights. Broncos get the ball at the halfway point. So first tackle, not a knock-on, but it's still an incomplete set. Brisbane Best throws the ball to the Broncos. So Gatone Stags now will be second tackle at 45. Knights completed sets would be around 50%, surely. Surely. Same old side. That left-hand sideline for the Knights is the ones making majority of the mistakes right now. Broncos haven't really done a crazy deal since that opening start. But possession-wise, he's 39% for the Knights. Yeah, the Knights are about to be 6 from 10, so they'll be about the 63% completion. 60% completion mark, sorry. They will go to 60, and now Broncos will knock it on. And the Broncos, they're at 92%, but they're about to go under 90% with that mistake. And the Knights will get this ball to the 20. Where's the Rice? Had Ibrahim says, well, we spoke about it before. I said to Olivia before, I went out and I looked for it last night and this morning. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it this time, but I will get it for next week. Leon says, Broncos scam. No, Broncos not scam. If they lose this game, no, I don't think they go on scam, because they're still pretty much going to make the top 8, but it would bring them back into the top 8 battle if they lost. They just need one more win for the rest of the season. That's all they need. Knights now beat the 40 on 4 tackle. Charles says, do you need a visa for Vietnam? Well, yeah, but you get 60 days, and then you can literally leave for a couple of hours and come back, kind of deal. Like, you can do a Cambodia run. But no, I'm going to go to a beach somewhere. Brisbane Best on fit tackle throws the ball to the grass at the 30. And now Cogger puts the ball into the corner, where an easy one for the Broncos. They will get this ball to the 10, get away from the tackle to the 15, to the 20. Desai Katapani still going here, and he'll get this ball out to the 30. Good run from Desai Katapani. So Payne Haas comes off for Cubby Hetherington for the Bronx. First tackle for the Broncos at the 35. Now second at the 44. So get how much of Visaki. Josie Pass says, well, Grant Anderson started the Broncos, so they buy him as a backup. Not too familiar with their team. Grant Anderson's been good for the Storm this year. He has been really solid. It just comes down to, do you have Josiah Kadapani or Dean Manor above him? I personally would probably have Grant Anderson based off of this season at the Melbourne Storm, probably getting in over... Oh, here we go. Broncos are away here. Easy try. Underneath the post. Reece Welsh. There you go. 12-0 with the kit to come. Too easy there. And the Broncos will off... Okay. Reece Welsh gives the try to Kobe Hetherington. Has he scored a try this year? Is that to get him off the nudie run? Is that in game 100? Okay. Has Kobe Hetherington scored this year? Maybe that one gets him off the nudie run, but also two, apparently this is his 100th game. So try time for the Brisbane Broncos. Basically Reece Welsh, but he does hand it off to Kobe Hetherington. And if you are betting on the Brisbane Broncos try scorers today, and you bet on Reece Welsh to score, you'd be spewing. You'd be absolutely spewing because he's literally just handed the ball off here to Hetherington. Too funny. Leon says, how's McDonald Jones sold out every week? Who shows up to watch this pathetic team? There is, to be fair, this is a good crowd. Newcastle always get good crowds, man. They don't have a great online presence, but they do get good crowds. This isn't sold out, but like it's pretty packed. And this is Old Boys Day, so this is a special day for Knights where you got your old boys like Chief who'd be there and Andrew Johns and the likes, all the players from the past. I think Titans Old Boys Day might actually be the Tigers game, or it could have been today. I'm not too sure. Zesby says, Walshy bum, why didn't he put it down? You put a bet on Reece Walsh to score a try today, haven't you? You put a bet on Walshy to score a try, haven't you? Lagan said, I don't understand why this is a Knights Old Boy Day. Why not? Why don't you understand? You need to they need to have an Old Boy Day once every year at the back end of the year. Every team does it. Or pretty much every team does it. I'm pretty certain every team does it. Bretton says, I hope some Broncos punter lost his bet on Walsh in time try scorer. Yeah, well, you probably see one just now in the chat. But with that being said, with this nice defense today, Brenton, I'm sure you can probably back in. Well, I did say as well before that when someone asked me try scorers, I said Reece would score. So I'm going to claim that. I am going to claim that he scored because I know he's passed it off to Hetherington there for a free try. But I am going to claim that I got that right. Leon says, I saw on their Instagram page it was sold out. Yeah, it's not though. It's not though, but sure. But sure. So Broncos currently in 5th position with this win. Sharks will be in 6th. Penrith in 7th and Roosters in 8th. Stephen says that piece of crap. Who piece of crap? Who's a piece of crap? Who? You saying Reece Welsh? You saying me? Who are you talking about? Jazzy Bass is poor crowd. It's a great crowd. For a team in 16th position who can't hold a ball to save their lives. What do you mean? Like I said, I didn't know it was a yearly thing. It's just there's not many reasons to have it. Like at least there was a reason to have it with the Bulldogs versus Manly game a couple of rounds ago. No, every team does it, man. But why is there no reason is what I'm asking you. Like why? Like at the end of the day, they're just celebrating their history. They're just celebrating. It's nothing to do with this season. Yeah, look, they're struggling, and it does usually help a team to get up for their Old Boys Day because it is a special day on the calendar, and you get like just the boys come in and have a chat with the team, and it's a really good positive moment despite the lack of success this year. Like Bulldogs would have had it when they won the Wooden Spoon in 2021. So do you still have the same opinion that the Bulldogs shouldn't have had it in 2021 as a Dogs fan, despite the fact they won the Wooden Spoon? Frank says, will you be travelling anyway in Europe in the near future? Germany or England would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice. In the future for sure. I don't know when, but in the future for sure at some point. I definitely will get out that way. Would love to get to Italy. One of my best mates is from Italy. He's from Sicily. 3rd tackle here at the 30. Love to get out that way, but there's a few things going on. That's a penalty to the Newcastle Knights at the 33. 10 minutes to go the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 10 minutes to go. 7 says Reece, yeah. Josie Bass says Penrith in 7. Suddenly I'm a Broncos and Dogs fan. Broncos and Dogs fan? Oh, Dogs next week, yeah. Well, the Panthers, regardless, have now made the 8 with that Dolphins loss yesterday. If the Dolphins had have won, the Panthers would be in quite a precarious position. But then again, that Roosters loss hurts their chances. No, like with the Roosters and Dolphins losing yesterday, it's kind of fine. Like if the Dolphins had have won and the Roosters lost, it's still kind of okay for the Panthers on the basis that the Roosters play the Storm next week. Leon says, I'm really keen to see how Panthers do in the finals now that they don't get to skip a week. Yeah, absolutely. 1 second. Knights here at the 10 for tackle. Yes, but also in the sense that they've lost 2 straight games to the 2 big teams in the competition, and now they play the Bulldogs, who are in 3rd position, who are also sliding a bit as well. So whoever loses that game is going to get a firestorm of criticism. Oh, I think this is a Newcastle Knights knock on Leo Thompson. Oh, it might be a drop out here, actually. Paddy Carrigan might knock this away. I thought that Leo Thompson touched it. So, yeah, that's a kick from Jake Arthur. It's actually a pretty decent kick into an awkward area. And, yeah, no, I actually think I think the Broncos knocked this dead. So it should be a drop out here from the Bronx. Lagan says, I don't know if it just seems random considering there's no grand final milestone or anything for them. Again, this happens with every team, dude. Every team has an old boys day. Every team. So Broncos will kick this ball to the 30 on the dropout, and Jake Arthur gives it to Kai Pearce-Paul. Now, Knights haven't been awful in first halves this season, but they have been awful in second halves this season. So they are already down 14-0. They did lead 18-14 over the Raiders at halftime before losing 44-18. So do keep that in mind if you've got like the Broncos on like a handicap or something like that, because the Knights do usually absolutely fall apart in the second half. Dasmate says, we actually didn't have an Old Boys Day in 2021 because COVID. Well, let's be pedantic about it, Dasmate. Let's be pedantic. But yes, why wouldn't every team have an Old Boys Day? Barring the Dolphins, the Old Boys are still playing. No, disagree with you here too. Dolphins, in regards to their Queensland Cup history, they've been around for, I think 50 plus years. So, like, the Dolphins, I'm sure they'd probably do an Old Boys Day in regards to their Queensland Cup, which is still impactful in regards to how this Dolphins team is today. Knights will be 5 metres out from the line for tackle. And now at the back of Jake Arthur. Jake Arthur to Matt Croker. And Croker is going to be 12 metres away from the line. A lot of people would have Reece to score, Stephen, especially against this Knights team. A lot of people. They kick it through. Chance for Newcastle. And that's a try for Leo Thompson. That is a try time for the Knights. And they will bring it back within probably 8 points here. The Broncos have missed 2 of their 3 kicks, which otherwise it would have been 18-0. But now it's 14-4, and the Knights should be able to get this conversion from right next to the post. So 14-6 is probably coming on up here. Jossie passes both Dogs and Panthers coming off back-to-back losses too. But this is what I'm saying. There's going to be a firestorm of criticism for both those teams, whoever loses. Whoever loses, you don't want to lose on Thursday. One, because you just don't want to lose. But also, secondly, Panthers can't lose, because if they do lose, that's 3 straight games against the top 3 teams. And I've been saying for months, as you guys know, I said I don't give a shit about them beating the Tigers twice and the Eels twice and the Titans very controversially. Don't give a shit about them beating all those teams. What I do give a shit about is their 3-game slant against the Melbourne Storm at home, the Canberra Raiders at home, even though it was at Mudgee, and then also the Canterbury Bulldogs away. I wanted to see them, if they won 3 games, they were going to probably win the comp this year. If they won just 2 games, then they're a genuine contender. If they win just 1 game, there is massive questions that need to be asked. And if they don't win against the Bulldogs, I'm putting them on fraud alert, because they deserve to be on fraud alert, because it means that they've been able to beat all the lower ranked teams. But then when it comes to the crunch, then they've lost all 3 of those games. So they can't win any more than 1. It's either 1 or 0 at this point, and either way, there's going to be questions asked or major fraud alert vibes. Major. And Thursday night, we will see that. It's going to be a big night on Thursday. I'll probably go live an hour beforehand because it's a really big night. Dadman says, future Dogs legend. Leon says, I'm going to game on Thursday. Can't wait. Yeah, it should be a belter. It should be a belter. It should be a belter. So 6 minutes to go off the first half here. Infinite Kiwi says, off fraud alert, let's go, hitting the like, getting dinner, see you on the next game. Well, next game, the Tigers, they're fighting for their season on a mathematical basis. Tasmate says, Penrith from years past win those games. Absolutely. They've lost both those games through excruciating fashion in extra time in Golden Point, with Harry Grant scoring an incredible try, and also KO Week scoring an incredible try from the breakaway after the missed field goal. So Penrith are going to be hurting. It's really difficult. I think I might actually even tip Penrith in that game, and Bulldogs fans won't like that, but I actually might, just on the basis that they have been extremely close to winning. Like, you can't get any closer to winning, and they've led both of those games and then thrown it away in the second half. So there's a bit of a trajectory right now That's 6 again for the Knights at the 50. They're actually playing some okay footy now. Brabham Best, you'll get this ball to the 35 on first tackle. 5 minutes to go the first half. First tackle. They are showing a bit of a trajectory that they're a first half team and not a second half team, which is opposite to what the Panthers have been for a very long time. Jack Coggan now at the 20, second tackle. And now they give it to Phoenix Crossland. There's a Newcastle chant that goes up. Third tackle, 13 metres away from the line. 5 minutes left of the first half. Nice score here. They're well back in this game. Out right-hand side, and that's a forward pass. Well done, Newcastle. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see, Newcastle. That is exactly what you want to see. It's exactly. Even a Kiwi, it's a bit controversial to take him off a fraud alert. The Warriors just over a unconvincing win against the Dragons and a win against the 17th place Titans, but I feel like it'd be a bit weird to, I don't even know. Oh, that was a knock-on. Sorry, it wasn't a forward pass. It was a knock-on. I'd feel a bit weird to keep them off of, especially now that they've backed themselves into the top 4. I'd feel a little bit weird to have them there, but like there's still an argument for it. Pendleton fraud watch. Dogs on scam. Hey, Daz, mate, we're going over this. We can't put the dogs on a scam. We cannot put the dog on a scam, champion. We can't do it. We won't do it. We won't do it. So I'm just going to open this up so the lighting's actually a bit better. We cannot do it here, buddy. Come on, Jazz. Come on. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm having to fight you about not putting the dogs on scam or you want your team to go on scam. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. So fourth tackle now. The Broncos will get this ball to the 40. Peter says, do wooden spoon teams get any awards? I'm not even going to answer you. So fifth tackle here for the Broncos at the 45. Yeah, mate, we do a whole ceremony where we grace the team with a wooden spoon. Yeah, we do a whole ceremony around it. On Dally M night, there's actually so the Dally M's, obviously you dress up in your suits, you dress up, beautiful gala, you know, you're out there having wine, champers, you're having a great night. You know, Roger won, they did the haka, beautiful moment, amazing time there. And then if you look just down the street, there's a hobo sitting on the corner, and he's the one who hands the wooden spoon. Now, he's probably been fisting himself with that spoon throughout the night, but at the end of the day, that's the ceremony down there. And then you've just got a couple of plastic chairs, one with a broken leg, and you get the boys just to sit there and receive that wooden spoon that night. That's kind of the ceremony that we do down the corner, but you can just see it. Just see it as you walk. That's another knock on for the Knights. You can just see it from the entrance to the actual Dally M night. You can just sit down there in the corner there. With the homeless man. So 0 tackle here for the Broncos at 38. Jay says they got a participation stash. The ball collector says, how do you decide your fraud versus scam status? It's very perspective based, mate. It's very individual thought process on how the vibe is. It's just about vibe and energy that you're getting from teams. And that's why I think it's still a little bit controversial. The Warriors are a fraud alert. I think it's a little bit controversial. But outside of that, I'm still okay with it. Do you determine scam as being completely down and out with no chance of winning the premiership? Well, then I'd put like 5 teams on it. That's going to be a dropout from the Knights. 2 minutes to go the first half, and the Broncos will receive a dropout from the Newcastle Knights. No, scam is just like they're really scamming you at this point of the season. Like, it's not that there's no chance to win the comp. If it was going to be that, like I'd put Manly on scam, I'd put Dolphins on scam, I'd put Roosters on scam, I'd put Broncos on scam. And then I probably would put Warriors on scam, but I'm not going to do that. That's not what it's about. It's more about just individual thought process about how the team is playing overall. The Knights get a great short drop out of the 10. Dom Young gets up and at him, and they'll probably mean the score stays his way to half time now. Paul says, go, mighty Broncos. They were great in the first 5-10 minutes of this game. Haven't really done much since then. They did score a try through Cubby Hetherington / Reece Walsh, but ultimately the Broncos haven't really been stellar for the most part of this game, but they just got off to a red-hot start, and the Knights have just been the same old error-ridden Newcastle team that we've seen every single week this year. You know, their completion rate is 66%, and their errors are up at 7, so they're already above the average. 5-6 is average, 7 and above is pathetic. So the Knights here on fit tackle, and they will just put that basic kick up to about the 12, and Reece Walsh will grab it, and great chase and tackle by Brisbane Best. Highland says, who's been on fraud most this season? Probably Broncos. Probably Sharks. Sharks have been there for the majority. But then again, they have been on fraud. They were on scam for about 7 to 8 weeks this season. They were on scam, and now they're completely off of scam and fraud with their rise. But there is still an argument they could be on fraud. There is still an argument to be made. Times are straight to the pool room, Jay. What Jay say? It's the vibe of it. Tell them they're dreaming. Yeah, exactly right. It's just the vibe, mate, you know? Look at me. I've got the Chucks headband on. Got the singlet, the tie singlet on. I bought some new pants yesterday that don't speak my language, but the Broncos knocked the ball on, and that will be at the end of the first half. So, you know, it's just a vibe. It's just like I may as well move to Byron with the way I'm speaking right now. I may as well move to Byron and get back to Australia. But half-time here, Broncos lead 14-6. Not exceptional here by either team, especially not the Knights, but you'll see this in the effective tackle percentage in a moment, why I do say the Broncos still haven't been too great. But they should have been up 18-6, it's just they've missed 2 of their conversions. Guys, hit that like button and subscribe. We've still got the Cowboys versus the Tigers game right after this game. But let's get into the stats here at half-time. And then we will power on for the second half of this one. Now, possession-wise, 49% for the Knights, 51% for the Brisbane Broncos. The try scorers for the Broncos are Katoni Staggs, Josiah Kadapani, and Kobe Hetherington. Reece Walsh gave Hetherington a free try there over the line just because it's his 100th game. So if you had Reece Walsh in your ticket for a betting ticket, you should have luck in that first half because he should have scored. Leo Thompson is the try scorer for the Knights. Now, time possession, 14 minutes 42 for the Broncos, 13 minutes 50 for the Knights. That's 27, that's 28 minutes. That's getting up there in regards to time possession, so you'd like to see that. It just means there's not many penalties in this game. Completion rate, yikes. You want to be seeing at least 80%. At least 80% as a marker. Broncos are doing that. They're at 85% with 17 from 20. I don't know if that's updated, that last knock-on of the first half, so that may update. But currently speaking, they're at 85% on 17 from 20. If not, they're on 17 from 21. Whilst the Knights, they are 12% below the 80% marker. They're at 68%, 13 from 19. Very reminiscent of the Titans. This Titans and Knights team, it's just lucky the Knights have won one more game. At the end of the day, they're the exact same team at the moment because yesterday they were at 68% at halftime as well. But 68% is not good enough. It's not even within 10% of the marker of 80%. 13 from 19 is a big yikes. Now, runs-wise, the Knights have actually had more runs with 82 runs for 674 metres, whilst the Broncos are at 79 runs for 776 metres. So the Knights with 82 for 674 means they're about 150 run metres behind the 10 metres on average per run metric. So they're well behind what you want to be achieving, and what it's not the marker. It's a really good statistic there to be getting 10 metres on average per run. Right, so they're 150 odd behind that. It's now 82 each, so they both had the same amount of runs. Broncos are 82 for 801. So they're only 19 now. They're 83 for 810. Right, so they're 20 metres behind the 10 metres on average per run, but that's still very good. The Broncos are getting a good amount of metres here, comparatively to the Newcastle Knights. Now they're 84 for 819. 21 metres difference. So Broncos very much in the lead here. I'm not even going to give you the 10 metres average booster of 20 runs, 20 metres for the Newcastle Knights because it's pointless because they're not getting anywhere close to 10 metres on average. But if you do that, that'd still be, now it's 83 for 686, that'd still be at, with the 10, 696, that's still over 120 odd. Roughly around 120 odd worse off than the Brisbane Broncos. So the Knights are getting torn to pieces down the metres. Post-contact metres with the same amount of runs, now 85 runs for the Knights. It will update at half-time. The Broncos have had now 2 less runs at 86 to 84. The Knights are at 245, whilst the Broncos are at 244. So basically the exact same. Like quite literally the exact same. They're 2 less runs for the Broncos, but they're only 1 metre off them. So you would say the Broncos would share a little bit of a lead. Now it's 244 for 243, so the Broncos are in the advantage there with 2 less runs. But still, regardless, it's basically the exact same. You're not really going to be seeing more than 10 metres if they do give it to them. Now it's 254 for 244 to the Knights. They've updated it, so that's 10 metres, but still it's going to be the same. Line breaks is 5-2 the Broncos. They're killing that department. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Newcastle. Tackle breaks. Missed tackles. Oh, this is something. Oh, lads, this is something. This is spectacular. This is spectacular stuff here. Tackle breaks. The Knights 15. The Broncos 35. The Broncos have got 35. The Knights have had 35 missed tackles in the first half. 35 missed tackles in the first half. We'll wait to talk about this in the defensive effective tackle percentage. 35 missed tackles the Knights have had. Oh boy, that is something. That is something, Newcastle. That is something. Anyway, average set distance, 25 and under, turn the stream off, pathetic. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker, average. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50, fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. The Knights are at 37.58, so they're in the mid-range, right bang in the middle of average there, 37.58. It's not too bad. It's not great. It's just kind of flatline. You're not really complaining with it, but you do want to see a bit more. 37.58 is fine, whilst the Broncos are at 42.65, so about 5 metres better off than the Knights on an average set distance. 42.65 is bang smack in the middle of the great category, so you're definitely taking that. It's about 5 metres ahead of the Newcastle Knights. It's looking good there for the Broncos. Average play the ball speed is 3.93 seconds for the Broncos, 3.51 seconds for the Knights. So 3.39 and below is fast, 3.4 to 3.59 is average, and 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. 3.8 and above is very slow. Broncos are at 3.8, so they're extremely slow. It's updated there. They're extremely slow category for average play the ball speed, whilst the Knights are at 3.49, so that's smack bang in the middle of average. So the Knights are playing very average across a lot of these statistics right now. But the Broncos are just taking their time with it, not getting a great deal of ability to play the ball quickly. But they are still up 14-6. Not that the Broncos have been super impressive overall, besides that opening 5-10 minute stanza. But 3.8 seconds is on the extremely slow category. The Knights, 7 offloads to 4. And then you got the forced dropouts of 1-0 Newcastle. Kick defusal is 100% for Newcastle, 67% for the Broncos. And wow, okay, let's get to these effective tackle percentage on the defense. Now, 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, average, and then 90% and above is brilliant stuff. Now, I'm going to go to the Broncos here first. 84.21%. Now, that's in the disgusting category. That's under 85%. They've had to make 176 tackles, which is only 12 less tackles than the Newcastle Knights, but 176 tackles made for 15 missed tackles and 18 ineffective tackles. So there's a tale of two stories here, but the 15 missed tackles is on the average. So 15 to 17 is an average amount of missed tackles, and they're on the lowest of the averages there of 15. So it's not awful by any means, but it's not great. So 15 missed tackles is fine, but you want to limit it still. And then you got the ineffective tackles of 18, which is a big number. That is a really, really big number. Oh my gosh, the Knights just missed. Oh, they've added a couple more missed tackles. So the Broncos are at 18, which is the average is usually about 6 to 7, maybe 8. I'm going to go 6 to 7 on an average, and they're on 18. So that's 11 more than the worst. If you want to give it the 8, then the 10 more than the worst. So the ineffective tackles are not helping the Broncos here at all. That is a significant amount of ineffective tackles. But let's get to this Newcastle Knights team. 81.74% on the effective tackle percentage, and that's really generous. That's really generous that they're even here. There's a bird right in front of my window right now. But 81.74% is a very generous number to give them. That is well below the marker of 88%. That is also well below the underwhelming category. 81.74% is pathetic. That is really, really bad stuff. Now, remember when I told you that missed tackles are 15 to 17 on average and a half? Well, they've made 188 tackles. They've missed 37. They've missed 37 tackles. The average is 15 to 17. They have missed 37 tackles. That is 3 tackles away from 1 missed tackle per minute of the first half. The average is 15 to 17. That's 20 more than the highest of the average there. 20 more missed tackles than the highest of the average. The Knights, if they did the same thing in the second half, would have 74 missed tackles. If they did the exact same thing, they would have 74 missed tackles in the game. That is putrid. Like, that is awful, awful. That is awful, 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 awful stuff. That's awful. And, oh, jeez. Ineffective is only 5, so that's why I'm saying it's generous in regards to the 81.74%. It's very generous, because ineffective is 5, which is, 1 underneath the lowest of the averages there, so they're actually doing pretty well in regards to the ineffective, but the reason being is probably because they're just missing the tackle rather than it being ineffective. They're just simply missing it. So 42 bad tackles in the first half, that's averaging more than 1 bad tackle per minute. It's averaging more than a bad tackle a minute, with the bulk Massive bulk being that missed tackles. I can't emphasise how bad that is enough. Now, negative play errors, 7 to the Knights, 4 to the Broncos. 4 and under is very good. 5 to 6 is average. 7 and above is very bad. Knights are at 7, so they're in the very bad category. Are you surprised? 4 for the Broncos. They're in the very good category. On the upper end, but still in the very good category. But this is very typical stuff for the Knights. Actually, probably better than recent weeks for the Knights. 7 is actually not as awful as we have seen from them throughout this season. But still very bad. Penalties conceded is 3-2 Broncos. Ruck infringements is 1-0 Broncos. And inside 10 metres is 1-0 Broncos. So to wrap up the stats there, errors-wise, Knights have just been really poor. Defensively, the Knights have been just awful. But the Broncos haven't been too crash hot themselves. They've been very consistent with their missed and ineffective combined. And then you've got the kick defusal. At least the Knights are doing well there. 4 dropouts are equal. Offloads aren't too crazy, but the Knights are leading that department. Broncos play the ball speeds very slow, but they're doing okay with it. Again, those tackle breaks are just insane. Average set distance is 5 metres apart in favour of the Broncos, and then the run metres is now well and truly in advance of the Broncos. 95 runs for 9.15. No, 94 runs for 9.11, which is just incredible. And then the completion rate for the Knights is just, 14 from 20. Whilst the Broncos are at 17 from 21. So this isn't the greatest of quality game, guys. That's for sure. The Broncos still need to do a little bit more because the fact that it's only an 8-point game and the Knights actually had a couple of opportunities in that first half, despite how poor this has been, is a big telling sign. So the Broncos still have a lot of work to do to win this game, but I just don't know if the Knights have enough points in them. They've only scored now through 21 and a half games. They've scored 306 points. Which is still over 104 points behind the second worst attacking team in the Parramatta Eels and the third worst attacking team in the West Tigers at 411. So, gee whiz. This is not good. This is not good for Newcastle. This is just not good stuff. But anyway, I'm sick of reading those stats. Peter Slagan, did you hear that? Spitting on? Nah. What are you talking about? Ball Collector says, if Panthers lose a third golden point in a row, can we do the first ever skip fraud and straight to scam status then? Well, I think Panthers definitely go into fraud alert with a loss to 3 straight losses there. I think they definitely go into scam status if they went and lost to the... who's their last game against again? Who are the Panthers playing in the last round again? Round 27, the Panthers take on the Dragons. I guess if they lost that game to the Dragons, they'd probably go into scam because that would be 4 straight losses in a row. With the first 3 coming against the 3 best teams in the competition, and then going and losing to the Dragons, they'd go to scam. But no, I couldn't put the Panthers on scam based off of that. But it would definitely show fraud alert status, and you could make the argument now that they could go on fraud alert status for the fact that they have lost those 2 games to the 2 best teams in the competition. When they are a team that are in that category, right? They've won 4 premierships in a row. They've been in 5 grand finals in a row. They should be achieving more from those 2 games. And it's like Panthers fans are going to sit there and say, well, it was only goal. It was 1 point. It was 1 try in extra time, golden point twice in a row. So we were still very close against the best teams. But it's like the Panthers do win that game last year, and they do win those games, both of those games in the last 4 years. They win both of them. They would be 2-0 against those in previous years. But this year, you can see how hungry the Storm are. You can see how hungry the Raiders are. The Raiders are starving. They're starving for a premiership. You've got music artists right now that are getting people singing and dancing and doing the Viking clap together. I saw your video, Olivia. You've got the Warriors fans really chomping down at the bit, but I don't think the Warriors have a good enough team right this very second to go and win the comp. The Bulldogs fans, they literally orgasm over a round 14 win against, like the West Tigers kind of deal. Like this is the competition right now. Everyone's so hungry for a competition, and I just don't know if the Panthers are going to have that same hunger when it gets to the crunch. But then again, they've done it many times before. They've done it many times before and proven it's all wrong before. Ibram says, Peter, what are you talking about? Ibram says they probably have more missed tackles than tackles. Well, it's close enough. It's close enough, man. Like 37 missed tackles is unheard of, dude. That is unheard of. 37 missed tackles. They've had 188 tackles made. So let's go 40, 80, 120, 160. About a quarter of their tackles made. Roughly enough. 40 of their tackles. 40... Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Tuppy says, Broncos on scam. Bro, talk about heartbreaker. No. What? Where did I put Broncos on scam? You can clearly see here Broncos are in 7th. Where did I put Broncos on scam? They're in fraud alert. They are frauds. They are fraud alert. But they're there. They are fraudsters, Sam. Don't even think second. They're not still on fraud alert. But they're not on a scam. If they lost this game, they would be. Oh, boy, they would be. Oh, boy, they would be. But they're not. They're currently winning this game 14-6 and in 5th position. Jossie Parr says, just saw the Titans press conference, never seen a journalist actually press into the coaches before. Travis Main and Peter Bedell, they are guys that do this. And again, I don't disagree with the question. I disagree with the placement of the question, and I disagree who it's being targeted towards, but also Steve Mitchell and this organisation don't do enough public interviews to be pressed like that. So it's kind of like the only form of outlet to do it is with Des. I just don't think that Des is the one that should cop that. Because at the end of the day, this has been a problem since well before Des in regards to the Titans as an organisation and as a club. Well before Des, that Titans fans were getting outnumbered by Warriors fans, or Titans fans are getting outnumbered by most fan bases, right? And they love to take the accountability away from themselves and blame a bloke on the drums with the bloody YouTube for the reason for that. And it's like, well, how are you going now? But the point is that I think that the question is valid to put pressure onto the organisation, but I just don't know if that was the right placement of the question from Travis Main. And Travis Main's been a clear muppet to this club for many years now, but I'm also understanding that I need other people to put pressure onto this club right now because they do have pressure internally, but also I really need other people with like a public profile to push this organisation to the brink of really seriously reconsidering a significant amount of what this club is doing. So I don't disagree with the question. I just disagree with the placement. And I also did feel bad for Des. I did. So the Knights now will get the ball for the second half and they'll bring it through Saifidi to the 10. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. Don't forget, right after this, we will have the West Tigers versus North Queensland Cowboys for the last game of the round. Olivia says, you don't watch enough press conferences. No, this was different, Olivia. I know what Jossie Parr is saying. This was different. Like, it was very clear that Travis Main had a clear intention to get a significant reaction. And it was very full on. If you watch it, it's very full on. So it is a very... Oh, Knights are away here. No, they've thrown the ball to the grass. It's a knock on. It's a knock on, lads. It's a knock on from the Knights. We've started off the second half with a knock on for the Knights. Brent says, we are like the Cows in regards to the score and the stats last week. Well, statistically, this week you've been much worse. Like, statistically in that first half, 37 missed tackles is unheard of. Unheard of, mate. Unheard of. I'm not trying to kick the boot in. I'm just saying, like, that's unheard of. Like, the Broncos should still go on with this game and win this game by a country mile. By a country mile. If they think they're anything serious. I know they've got plenty of outs, but so do a lot of teams. The Broncos need to have that second man up mentality like the Storm have had, where they've still been able to beat the Panthers and they've still been able to beat these big-time teams. The Broncos are going to get taken over the sideline. Well done by the Knights defensively there. Well done by the Knights defensively there. Take the Broncos over the sideline. Frank says, Sharks, I believe, are timing their run perfectly in the finals. I agree. They will be seen as underdogs and they can build their determination. They challenged Cleary's team in prelim for 60 minutes. No, sort of. I thought the Panthers were very clearly the better team in that game from the outset, but sure, score-wise, and sure, it was relatively within range, but they just weren't good enough. I will hesitate in saying that the Sharks are timing their run perfectly. I do know they play the Knights next week after their bye. They had a big win against the Titans, which could have played them into form, and they should play themselves into continuous form against the Knights next week. But then they play the Bulldogs. That'll be the game that tells me a lot, because the Bulldogs, you surely don't rest players, but they might. They may do. Sharks Bulldogs should be a good game on full team merit, but I just don't know if the Dogs rest their players or not. I know the Sharks won't, because they'll be still fighting and jostling for a final position and potentially a top 4 position themselves, and they also need that form. But the Sharks are still they're still not a full 80-minute team. Like, they are a first half team. They can put points on in the first half. They did it against the Cowboys and they did it against the Titans. But like, who the fuck are they? Like, who are the Titans and the Cowboys this year? So, you know, yeah, they beat the Storm once, but they also lost to the Storm once quite well. They also lost to the Warriors quite well, despite the fact the Warriors probably in a bit of a better position at that time, but still weren't anything spectacular at the time, especially on attacking wise. They still got absolutely thumped by the Roosters and whatnot. So, you know, maybe, Reece Walsh away here. Referee kind of got in the way of a tackle, but the Knights are still able to make it at the 40. Jack Cogger. And now the Broncos through Dean Mariner. He'll bring it out to the 50 on second tackle. 4 minutes into the second half here. So yeah, look, like I can see the world where you're right. I can see the vision of what you're talking about for sure. But I also am still very hesitant on the Sharks because they play a very bland and basic way of footy for the most part, and just because they beat the Cowboys and the Titans and probably the Knights next week after a bye doesn't really ultimately convince me everything that I need to know about Cronulla. But again, I tipped them to win the comp pre-season. Fitz tackled out to 15 for the Bronx, and Corey Pakes gives it off to Billy Walters back on the inside of Payne Haas. Payne Haas, he'll throw it out the back to Corey Pakes. Then they get it across Jensen. Here's a chance of the Broncos. Here's a try for the Broncos. Coming up for, I think so, Dean Mariner. I think Dean Mariner has scored here in the corner, and they will call try time. So it is 18-6 the Broncos with a kick to come. 18-6 Broncos with a kick to come. Brandon says, what was the meaning of Des having his hands from under the table? What do you mean? Yeah, Reece Walsh having a good game. He's had a good last couple of games. Not the Dolphins and Knights or anything to really go off, but still he's had a really good last couple of games with no Ezra Memon, Adam Reynolds. He's had to really lead a lot of the attack, and he's doing well with it. No, that pass from Ben Hunt was really nice in the press conference. No, I know you're referring to the press conference, but the meaning of Des' hands under the table, what do you mean? And I think he's... Oh, does the ball go on the sideline? It's going to be closed. No, try confirmed. Try confirmed. I just wanted to see this ball. The feet were in the air. It was just if the ball... It must just come inside here. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, he gets it just in before it goes over the sideline. So 18-6 for the kick to come. Difficult kick here, though, which means that if they miss it, it'll be 3 missed kicks from 4, and it'll still only be a 12-point game. So Dean Mariner today, 1 try, season 7, career 29. I watched the press conference. His reaction was warranted. Yeah, Des is very emotionally invested in the game, similar to people like, one second, Reece Walsh will hits a post and in. Yes, it is. Hits a post and in. It curled away. It looked like it was going to the black dot, and the wind must have pushed it, but it hits the post and goes in. So 20-6 here to the Broncos with a kick to come. Really good put down there from Dean Mariner. Des, like me, like a lot of people I know, but I definitely can relate individually to Des, is that he is very emotionally invested in the game. He's professionally invested, he's financially invested, he's physically invested, but most of all, he is emotionally invested. He does think very much to the core of what sport is, rugby league is, and how much this means to the community and how much this means to just the game, right? So a lot of people find Des very polarizing. A lot of people find me polarizing. You know, at the end of the day, he does care. Does it mean that it's working out? Obviously not. But do I think this is all Des' problem? Not necessarily. I don't also agree with a lot of the selections that Des makes, but it's very evident that Des gives a shit. You know, and that's the main thing that I do also look for, because I am very emotionally invested in the day-to-day. Matt's on Sport TV says Big Walshy has hit the post 3 times today. Nate says Des done well. That Jonah was a cockhead. Yeah. Again, don't disagree with the question, just disagree with the placement from the journo, and it was very clear that that Travis Mayne wasn't getting the reaction he wanted, so we wanted to press even further. But again, I do need more people to be evidently coming out against the club, especially Travis Mayne and Peter Bedell, who have been very much for years doing that, even when I disagree with it. I just need them to think about kind of their placement more so. Second tackle at the 25, because it's not Des' responsibility in regards to the fans that have been a problem for a long time before Des. Brenton says, I just mean, what was he referring to when he said, I'll keep my hands above the table at the start of the presser? It's not a gotcha comment if you're thinking that. No, I don't know, is what I'm asking. Penalty to the Knights here, I don't know. So Knights at the 40 will kick this ball to the 43, 42 on the Broncos side of the field. Basically the 40. Should have asked the journo if his ears are painted on, yeah. Travis Mayne is known for a lot of controversy around this club. That's why Des didn't shake his hand in the pre-game interview. No, he says, yep, 100%. They threw in the Warriors, had more supporters there than Titans, like a child that didn't get its way. Yeah, again, that comment is valid, but wrong placement. The comment is valid for the organisation. They just don't do enough public press conferences for that to be a valid placement. Des is not responsible for that, but the organisation is. And by the way, 1 second, 4 tackle at the 5. 6 again here for the Newcastle Knights, 5 metres out. Here they go. They're going to be 3 metres away from the line now, second tackle. I've been confirmed that the internal review of the not being in touch with the fans is fact. It is true. So the Knights now at the 5. And now Jake Arthur to Dom Young. And there's another knock-on for the Newcastle Knights. Broncos, 0 tackle. No, it's going to be first tackle at the 10. Yeah, it's going to be knock-on from the Knights. Knock-on from the Knights. Same old. But yeah, I have been confirmed that the internal review surrounding the disassociation with the fans and being out of touch with the fan base is something that actually is happening within the club. Obviously, again, not going to say who I know it from, but it was confirmed. Titus says Broncos and Tigers go for a win. Broncos 13 plus and Tigers 1 12. Broncos need to take extra ball control, condition, must complete tackles, no standing tackles. They've still missed a few tackles themselves, the Broncos. They've not been spectacular, but they've been much better than the Newcastle Knights, but that's not a surprise. Logan says, Desi probably wanted to put one on the journalist's chin, that's why he kept it under, probably. Again, I'm not a fan of Travis Main or Peter Bedell. Not a fan of them. But do think that the more pressure on this organisation right now, the better. Frank says, I like how the NRL bosses in the New Zealand organisation have invested in a training base in Logan, Queensland, with more Kiwis and Islanders nowadays that living in Brisbane. Yeah, southeast Queensland is Auckland West. Payne Haas, he'll get this ball to the 33 on fit tackle. 30 minutes to go here in the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 30 minutes to go. And Reece Walsh will kick this down to the 35, then to the 45, and they'll be at the 50 on first tackle. Brenton, listen, you're saying hold the ball, you Muppets. Brenton, this is 25 games in now. We're 25 games in. I don't think much is going to change for this last few rounds. Actually, 14 points currently, so you would be going from minus 186 to minus 200. This is, if one more try and you're actually below the Titans' points differential. But again, we kind of know that. It just comes down. If the Titans have this point, they win one of their remaining 2 games. Because I don't have the Titans or Knights winning either of their remaining 2 games, but the Titans do have an easier schedule over the last 2 games than the Knights do. Because they've got the Dolphins who've given up 160 points, and then also the Tigers, comparatively to the Knights who play the Sharks next week, who need to win. And then, 1 second, Knights put it up in the air. Broncos drop the ball. It's going to be a dropout. Dropout from the Broncos. Knights then also play, I think it's Dragons. No, it's not Dragons. They play the Panthers. Geez, it's so hard to remember all these games. Knights then play, that's right, the Eels, who I do think Eels beat them. So I just don't have the Knights to win another game. I don't have the Titans to win another game. But the wooden spoon race ultimately comes down to the Titans needing to win one of their 2 remaining easier matchups, but nothing's an easy matchup for the Titans. I know, mate, but I'll continue to support them. No, Brenton. No, I will not accept that, actually. No, you will be a Gold Coast Titans fan from here on out. I will not accept that, actually, Mr. Esley. You are now a Titans fan, as far as we know. Welcome to the party, mates. Fun party. First tackle. And now Newcastle will bring it to the 4. 3 metres out, second tackle. By the way, I will wait for the final games to go, but we will have our post-season review videos coming out basically immediately once teams get knocked out. Basically immediately once their final game has been played, another knock-on from the Knights. You can't write it, lads. You can't write it. You can't write it. Kilzeri says, born GC, always back the Broncos because all brother born Brisbane, fraud or no? Are you saying are you a fraud? Are you asking me if you are a fraud? Well, how old are you, Kilzeri? How old are you? There's a reason I'm asking that question. 28 minutes to go here the game. So you were born and lived your life on the Gold Coast, have you? 24. Okay, so that's 2001. Oh, you would have been 6 years old when the Titans came into the competition. Now, at the end of the day, like, you still would have had your very early onset years with your family probably being Broncos fans before the Titans existed. Now, look, it makes sense. The Titans have... I guarantee you that around 2009, 2010, you probably would have had an inkling to get around your local Gold Coast team. But then ever since, they haven't given you a reason to kind of be on them. So Broncos now, they'll get this ball to the 40, and it'll be 4 tackle. Nico says, I love your channel. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Who do you support, Nico? So Ben Hunt, he will be at the 45. He rolls it back to Payne Haas, and Payne Haas will get this ball to the 50. And now 45 metres out, fit tackle. Kilsiri says, spot on. Good chat, legend. Yeah, look, I don't know. 2009, 2010, a lot of people from the Gold Coast who were Broncos fans would have probably made the switch. Ultimately, it's kind of what got me across the line, right? Like, at the end of the day, I kind of had a bit of a soft spot because the Broncos were the team that I was born in 94. So for 13 years of my life, I actually was in Brisbane. And then we moved to the Gold Coast when I was like 12 years old. And that was at the exact same time that the Titans actually came into the competition. So it was a very big toing and froing, but I just, because it was my local, and it was because, you know, where I found myself at Titans games and at Skill Park at the time, there was just no way that I was going to, you know, keep supporting a city that I wasn't, you know, I definitely associated myself with more with the Gold Coast. So, but a lot of Broncos fans would have made that switch. They might have gone back at this point, but a lot of Broncos fans would have made that switch around the 08, 09, 2010 seasons where the Titans were in 3rd place, 4th place, and it also made the preliminary final. Maxon says, seems like a boring game. Yeah, it's not exactly the most exciting game. The Knights have had like 50 missed tackles already. They've also just hit the ball to grass, but this is going to get kicked through. Oh, that might potentially be a professional foul. Otherwise, it's going to be a try for Brisbane Best. It's going to be a try for Brisbane Best here. Otherwise, there was probably going to be a professional foul against, I think, Billy Walters. Potentially could have even been a penalty try. But either way, Brisbane Best will score for the Newcastle Knights, and it's going to be 20-10 to the Broncos, but a kick to come Newcastle to bring them back within 8. 25 minutes to go. Hungry for Dinner says, just came back from the GC. It's changed so much. How do you mean? There is a lot of changes happening on the Gold Coast. Obviously, with the line, the tram line going all the way down to the airport. We still always wanted that train to continue from Varsity down to Tweed, but obviously that's not going to be. Or Varsity down to at least the airport area. But there's always been talk about it. They just don't do it. Yeah, Reece Walsh would have absolutely done for a professional foul if that wasn't a try for Brisbane Best. And honestly, it genuinely had a chance of being a penalty try, but there was still about 30 metres away, so I probably don't think they would have given that. It would have given a professional foul. Killsiri says, no matter who you are, anywhere you go and surfers, you get treated like a tourist. Bro, if you're from the Gold Coast, you don't go to surfers. And this is the thing that, you know, really annoys you when people talk about my home of the Gold Coast and they go, oh, it's just a party town. You know, it's just a place you go for a couple of days. It's full of gronks. It's like, mate, you went to fucking surfers. You went to Surfers Paradise. You know, Surfers is literally just a tourist hotspot. You know, I would never go. I've probably been to Surfers when I lived there. I've probably been to Surfers maybe across my life when I was younger and going to clubs and shit. 1 second, Knights will get the conversion. So it is an 8-point game, 20-12 with 24 minutes to go the game. When I was younger, sure, I'd go to the clubs and stuff, but I also preferred Broadbeach, to be fair. But overall, if you're a local on the Gold Coast, you don't go to Surfers. Surfers, there's nothing really interesting there for locals. Like, locals will go to Burleigh, or locals will go to even Miami. Broadbeach is even better, to be fair, than Surfers. You got Tweed, you got Coolangatta, you got all the way down there. There's no reason to really go to Surfers unless you're a tourist. Like, there really isn't. What is the reason to go to Surfers if you're a local? Unless you maybe want to go to restaurants, but if I want to go to some really nice restaurants, you would go to Broadbeach. Broadbeach, there's some beautiful restaurants there. You would go to Burleigh Heads. You would go down the Tweed, Coolangatta way. Yeah, it's just nothing for locals there. But yet people have this ideology that, like, the Gold Coast is Surfers Paradise. And you're like, you have no idea what you're talking about. So the Knights will get this ball here at the 3. And Saifidi now brings it out to the 15 on first tackle. Michael says, Reece ruined my multi. Dude, the amount of people that will be pissed off with Reece Walsh if he doesn't score in this last 24 minutes is crazy considering. Because a lot of people would have bet Reece Walsh to score a try in their multis. And he would have crucified those multis. Absolutely crunched those multis by passing that ball to Kobe Hetherington. Killsiri says 100% just want my Wendy's. Just want your Wendy's? Oh, because Wendy's and Surfers, fair. Fourth tackle now for the Knights, and they go out to the right-hand side. And Tyson Frizzell will get this ball to the 43 on fit tackle. Scott James go to Burley. Burley's great. Oasis Shopping Centre. Oasis. Isn't Oasis Broadbeach? Oasis is Broadbeach. Broncos now at the 20. Weiss Series says service is boring unless you're having a night out. Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. And also then, I don't go clubbing really anymore. Like overseas here in Vietnam and Thailand and whatnot, yes, but it's very different. But like I don't go clubbing back in Australia anymore at my extremely old age of 31. It's just not the same. Like overseas it's better like in Australia, it's very catered to like an 18 to 22 kind of audience for clubbing and whatnot. But yeah, surface, unless you're going out, there's really just nothing there. Do they have the slingshot still? I don't even know. Peter says scorers will not reach 40, but Broncos will win for sure. Yeah, I don't think the Broncos score 40. And the Broncos surely win. They will. There is a good chance to go on to scan. Oh, that's a penalty for sure. Wow, they haven't called out a penalty. I thought he got connected with high, but probably not. First tackle now at the 10 for the Knights. Big hit, though. And Dane Gagai here's away. He gets the offload away, and James Schiller still going back on the inside. Oh, welcome back to the knock-on Knights. Knock-on Knights, baby. Knock-on Knights. They had a guaranteed try if that ball went to hand. I would have questioned the pass, but either way, it's a drop ball there, and yeah, they will say mitigation in regards to that tackle before, but that definitely is a penalty for mine regardless. That should have been a penalty earlier on. But either way, the Knights again knock on to the Knights. Michael says, what's your favourite beach in the Goldie? Favourite beach? I grew up as a nipper, and Surf Life, that's a 4-pass for sure from Schiller regardless. They probably wouldn't have called it though, because Todd Smith probably doesn't call that. But I grew up as Kurrawa, and I competed for Kurrawa and whatnot, so I do love a bit of Kurrawa. But ultimately, like, I do love a bit of Burley. I do love a bit of Burls. It just depends on what vibe you want, though. Like, if you want a lot of people around and just kind of like a good atmosphere kind of deal, Burley's the place. But if you want to go quieter, you go down either Northern Rivers or down past Palm Beach and whatnot, around Crumburn. Franks, I don't mind the upper north of Gold Coast. Oh, Broncos are away here. Payne Haas will score. Out of nowhere, the Broncos will break through. And from what would have been a 20 to 18 score line to the Broncos has now turned into a 26 to 12 score line for the Broncos. Payne Haas breaks through. And this should be if they get the kick. 20 minutes to go of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. And don't forget, we've got the Tigers versus Cowboys in the final game of the round right after this. Nathan says, woo, you're 31. I am 31, mate. If you're anywhere between the ages of 15 and 20, you probably call me a boomer. If you're anywhere above the age of 21, 22, you probably realise that 31 is still extremely young. Richard Ty says Broncos. Get around you, Richard. And Numhey says, enjoy your content. Vanaka Vakalevu, brother. Vanaka Vakalevu. Hope you go well there, brother. In Fiji. Bit of thoughts of the action. I'll be in Fiji late October to see my family. Looking forward to it. I miss a bit of back home. But I don't mind the upper north of Gold Coast either. Bigger waters is lovely too. Yeah, absolutely. Upper north of the Gold Coast is fine. It's just like it's a lot of it is very party centric for a lot of the way in regards to how people think of it. And people don't realise how long the Gold Coast is. 24-12 to the Broncos. They should get this kick. They don't realise how long the Gold Coast is. It's not like Brisbane, which is just condensed but big, right? It's a city and big. And then Sydney is the same, but then just goes well out west. And Melbourne is like that. Same with Canberra. But Gold Coast is not like that. It's like that. So everyone just kind of focuses on that surface region because that's where all the tourists go. So 26-12 to the Broncos with 19 minutes to go. They do get the kick. Hossam Mule says this might be a disappointing match for the Broncos. It has been disappointing, but also they're without Adam Reynolds, they're without Ezra Mam, they're without Xavier Willis, and they're without Selwyn Cobbo, they're without a couple of players. The other day, like as long as they win, they make the 8. They just need 2 more points to guarantee their top 8. They just need 2 more points, so they've got it. Tasman says just avoid surface all up, absolutely. And then you get people saying like, "Oh, schoolies." It's like, mate, if you're on the Gold Coast, schoolies has no impact on you. If there is probably less than 1,000,000,000% chance that I would go anywhere even in the vicinity of surface paradise around schoolies time. Is that even a real big thing anymore? It used to be massive back in the day. I know that Byron has like schoolies now, and I know Fiji does as well. I think Bali does as well now as well. They do have one in Byron and whatnot, but I don't even know if it's that big in Gold Coast anymore. To be fair, I'm a boomer, mate. I'm a boomer at this point. Call you Unc. You may as well, Daz. Call me Unc. Third tackle here at the 30 for the Broncos. 19 minutes to go the game. 26-12 score. Scott says, just realised that I pay $11,000 in tax, which I'm working 10 weeks for free. Apparently tax will go up as they're taxing people to drive on the roads now. Yeah, well, also if you pass away, Scott, apparently you're getting taxed on your your will or something, isn't it? I saw something on Instagram about this the other day. And Smoothie will keep this ball. That's going to be Broncos still get the ball here. That was such a weird kick because I don't know if he actually meant to do that, but Billy Walters kicks this ball across here to a bunch of Broncos. Katoni Staggs is going to not score. He offloads it and it goes forward, and Bradman Best now will get 0 tackle at the 5. Diamond says update score, please. Okay, sorry. Jeez. What do you mean update score, please? It is updated. It's live. What? What do you mean update score? The score is live. Jeff Masters, you've got to go more GC hinterland like Mount Tambo to explore. Absolutely. The beach side is more like the Las Vegas of Australia. Absolutely. That's the thing. You get the beach. You got the quiet down south. You got the party up north. You got the mid area, which is very Indian hipster. You've got plenty of shopping. You got theme parks. You got the hinterland. Like I went, Nuts are away here. They get sport to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, and they'll be at the 43. Second tackle. Good run for the Knights. You got everything. And you're only an hour away from Brisbane. Everyone from Brisbane's making the hour drive down south to the Gold Coast. So you may as well. No, don't move there. No, don't move there. We've already got enough of you Broncos folk there as it is. Fourth tackle for Newcastle at the 33. Hungry Foot says kids don't drink as much nowadays. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not a big. Australia's turning into a lot more of a healthier living, especially on the Gold Coast, especially around that Burleigh area as well. Everyone's really into their clean and healthy eating and whatnot. James Schiller will be 15 metres away. He fit tackle. Is that 15 or is that 35? I can't see. It was 15. All right, Jake Arthur. And that's not a good kick there. It's just going to go straight to the 10. They will knock it back here, the Knights, though. Still fit tackle. Can't get the ball away, and that's going to be Broncos ball at 15. I did actually, when I was doing keto last year, when I went down to Newcastle, there was an amazing keto restaurant, actually, in Newcastle. It was amazing. They had the best, was it pancakes or something? Or waffles? Oh my gosh, bacon like waffles, and it was keto. It was unbelievable. Michael says, seen Walshy and Adrian Portelli in schoolies. Walshy? What? When was this? When was this? Oh, it's a penalty here to the Knights. Penalty to the Knights here. Goes against the run of play. There's going to be a penalty to the Knights here. Reece Walsh? When was this? The bloke's 23 years old. There's no way. So, yeah, mistake there from the Broncos. Hits the head, and then he's offside there, Shibasaki. 2022, 3 years ago. The guy's 20. That's a toolie if I ever did see one. Reece Walsh around schoolies. What are you doing? 20 years old. To be fair, I went when I was 17, 18, and 19, but, that's, as a Gold Coast local, you go as a foolie, a schoolie, and a toolie, but, when you're getting into the the twos, the 20s, it's a bit weird. Second tackle here at the 10. It's a bit weird. And Frizzell hits the grass backwards. Knights, Dane Gagai, then gives it off to Bradman Best. Best gets away from a couple, and he'll be 10 metres out from the line, third tackle. Gee whiz. 20 years plus. Did anyone here go to schoolies when they were 20 years plus? Jake Arthur, right outside. Dom Young, one-on-one. Good tackle there from Dean Mariner. No, it's just Katapani, sorry. Good tackle. Fourth tackle now at the 10. They go across. Jaden Brayley. Cogger. Then on to Dane Gagai, playing fullback today. He will get taken down 10 metres out. Tried to get the offload. Couldn't do it. Fit tackle. And now they'll go right-hand side to Jack Cogger. Cogger then gets it all the way across here to Jake Arthur. This is a better kick here from Arthur. Oh, well, no, it's not. No, it's not. It will go dead for a 7-tackle set. That was poor. Hungry Before Dinner says, longer now. Traffic should have all my Pimpama. Yeah, it's always going to be that way, though. Everywhere, which is a big enough city, is going to have bad traffic. Try going Chicago, mate. Chicago traffic is something. LA traffic is a blinder. Scott says, yes, so if your family member passes away and you get, say, a 50k or car pass down to you, the government taxes you. Yeah, that's insane, dude. That's actually insane. Frank says, I won't go to schoolies either as I have a learning disability and staying sober as much as I can. Good stuff, bro. Like, schoolies is fun. Schoolies is fun when you're that age, but, you know, good to see you. Good to see you want to... Oh, Reece Walsh away here. Reece Walsh away here. The 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30. Will Reece Walsh save the punters? Will he save the punters? No, he will save the punters today. He will score a try. And Reece Walsh will make it to the top of the kit to come. Hey, punters who were really angry at Reece Walsh for not scoring before, well, you've had your bacon saved. You've had your bacon saved today. The punters have been saved. Reece Walsh breaks through. He'll probably be man of the match as well, to be fair. He was man of the match last week, and he should be man of the match here today. Like, just imagine Reece Walsh in school. Oh, God help it. God help it. Dasmate says, hold on. I disagree. I might as well have a steak in the Belmore Hotel at this rate. Well, every player does, apparently. Every player does. To be honest, Reece Walsh does still act like he's in year 9. Norme says, nah, and from Fiji Indian residing in South Auckland. Go the Broncos. Get around you. Well, the Broncos will be very happy with this at the moment. Well, not very happy, but they're guaranteed for the top 8 now. This performance has been above average, but not exceptional. Jason, say it again with the people in the back row. I said it, mate. I don't know what I said, but I said it. Rita Tyre says Broncos will enter the grand final. They will finish the final. Stop it. Please, 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 please. Just be happy with where it is right now. Oh, boy. Broncos have beaten the Bulldogs twice this year, so I'll give you that. Broncos have not beaten the Storm. They lost them by 20 points out of the week, yes, with 2 injuries, and I doubt they'll win around 27. I don't think they beat the Storm. I also don't believe they beat the Raiders when it comes to the crunch. I also don't believe they beat the Panthers when it comes to the crunch. I think they can beat the Sharks. I think they can beat the Roosters. I think they can beat the Dolphins. Definitely can beat the Dolphins. But the Dolphins gave them a good test last week, regardless of how poor they've been recently. Maxton says, footy, schoolie, restaurants, traffic, taxes, great Sunday Arvo discussions. Yeah, but this is what's going to happen on today. Like, yesterday's games were, you know, there's a lot riding on them. Friday's games obviously was incredible. Thursday game, we were kind of speaking about this. But Sundays, especially recently, last week's games were awful. And today's games shouldn't have too much riding on it either. Like the Tigers, yes, there's a lot riding on them. To still be mathematically in the equation for the 8. But outside of that, Knights, Broncos, and Tigers, Cowboys is never going to get a great, significant, you know, pure commentary of the game because it's just never really going to be a cracker, is it? And last week's games, don't even start me on the Knights, Cowboys. That's the worst game in history. And Tigers, Manly also was a little bit of something, but there was nothing too much on it. And then next Sunday's games, you've got Sharks, Knights, and Dolphins, Titans. Dolphins, Titans, at least you're going to get an exciting commentary because I'm going to be having my weekly dose of depression. But Sharks, Knights also doesn't get you going. Like, why is it that we have to finish off our weekend watching the Knights every week? Why? Why do we have to do this? Why do we do this to ourselves? You leave us with the final day, rugby league, NRL, leaves us with the final day being the Newcastle Knights every week. Like, you get a belter of a weekend with, Josiah Katapane's away here, and this is where the Knights start to fall away. This is what they do every week. They usually fall away in the second half. And it'll be 4 tackle of the Broncos at the 25. I give it to Smoothie, Tyson Smoothie at the 20. He'll give it back here to Payne Haas. Payne Haas will now be 10 metres out, fit tackle. Bringing it down, ready for Monday work. Yeah, at least it takes you off of that high of those Friday games. And Billy Walters short ball into the line, and that's a try time for Gehamar Shibasaki, 36-12 with a kick to come. This is what happens every week with the Knights. This is what happens with the Knights every single week. Their first half is not awful, but this first half was awful, especially missed tackles wise. Their second half, they always just get obliterated. You know, and it's just every week with the Knights, eh? Like, their completion rate is 22 from 32, 68%. Oof. Broncos themselves, like, they're at 75%. They're not at the marker of 80%. at least the tackle breaks. The Broncos have only had 47 tackle breaks in the game now, which I know is crazy to say only. They were 37 tackle breaks at halftime. So there's only been 10 missed tackles in the second half from the Knights, which is really good. The Knights have had 37 tackle breaks, so 37 missed tackles for the Broncos, which the Knights have actually gotten themselves well in the game for a large part of the second half, but it's just this last 15 minutes where they're falling apart now. 10 minutes to go of the game. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Tigers, Cowboys to finish off the round. Right after this, we will be live for it. Actually, oh geez, Broncos defensively. Ooh, 80.35% on an effective tackle percentage. 278 tackles made for a whopping 37 missed tackles, which was what the Knights were at half time, but the Knights have only given up 10 more in the second half, so that's 20 more missed tackles in the second half for the Broncos compared to 10 missed tackles for the Knights in the second half. And then ineffective tackles was 5 for the Knights in the first half. It's now only 6. So only 1 ineffective tackle in the second half. Whilst the Broncos, they were at 15. They're now at 31. So 16. So they're at 80.35%. That's really poor. It's funny because the Knights have actually statistically probably been a little bit of the better team here in the second half. Yeah. Statistically speaking, they have been the better team in the second half, but they're just awful. You know, so it does give you a bit of a concern for the Broncos, but at the end of the day, they're going to win this game 13 plus, and they're not complaining. Scott James says, I believe it's something like we pay like 45% tax, highest in the world. Sorry for the politics. No, you're right. Yeah, Australia taxes you to shit. Australia is very expensive. Look at me. That's why I'm traveling the world. It's cheaper for me to travel the world and do what I do here and enjoy. I can go and experience new cultures. I can experience new perspectives. I'm going to be back to Australia one day, my home. But I can go and experience the world. I've been in America, which was expensive, Vegas and Hawaii, and then Fiji, Samoa, Hong Kong, India, Thailand, and Vietnam. And the most expensive things in these countries are like the cheapest things in Australia. Like accommodation-wise. Accommodation is ridiculously cheap over in these parts of the world. First tackle for the Broncos. They will get a penalty at the 15. 9.5 minutes to go. James Stevens says, in all seriousness, our 4-pack is weak. James Stevens, welcome back to reality. Whoa, James. That's the first comment I've seen you make where the Broncos aren't going to win every game for the rest of the season and win the grand final. Well done, mate. Well done. No, good stuff, mate. It's good gear. Again, they're going to win 36-12. I wasn't expecting you to have a negative, considering that you are the Broncos circle jerker every single game. But I understand what you're saying. Peter says Reese haters are chatting now. Pity on them. I'm not gonna bite. Richard Tice, go Reese Walsh. I believe the game yours and take Broncos to the final. I'm not gonna bite either. Daz May says Knights Dogs grand final. Oh, okay, I'm not even gonna bite to any of those comments. Brenton Eslick says here comes 50 for the Bronx. 14 points in 8 minutes. It's definitely not out of the equation. And Ben Hunt, he's looking for the offload. He gets the offload. And Tyson Smoothie to Jordan Ricky. Ricky to Tony Staggs. Staggs will step inside. It'll be 24 metres out, fit tackle. Mark Webb says, you ever been to Puerto Rico? No, I have not been. I live in Puerto Rico. We are part of the US, but 5 times cheaper. No, I do hear this. I think, not exactly a great name, but I'm pretty certain Logan Paul lives there, doesn't he? Didn't he move there to get away from taxes and stuff like that? Because of how cheap it is? I'd love to get to that area. I was actually talking to my mum. Oh, jeez. I'm surprised that's not a penalty as well for the Knights. I was actually talking to my mum about, like, time zones, because I want to be able to stream NBA. I want to be able to stream NFL. I want to be able to stream these games, but the time slot in Australia for NFL and whatnot specifically is awful, and especially in Asia. Asia's even worse for the Monday games or the Sunday games in America. So I want to be able to do that because I have done that in the past. The Knights will have a mistake and the Broncos will be 15 minutes out first, 0 tackle. So I was considering going into that South American region next year, or probably I was thinking next year. So it'll be on the cards, mate, because the time slot's great. Boss says, do you think this Broncos spine is better than Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds, and Ben Hunt? It shouldn't be, but no, I wouldn't say so. I think that maybe there's a bit too many cooks in the kitchen, actually, with Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, Ben Hunt, and Adam Reynolds, maybe. It's an awesome spine on paper, but I think there might be a bit too many cooks in the kitchen. But no, like, at the end of the day, man, like, let's be honest. The game against the Storm, they were doing all right. They were doing very solid, actually, until the 2 injuries of Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam and Selwyn Cobbo. And then They went and lost that game, but then they went and beat the Dolphins 38-28. But let's also be honest about that and say that they were down by 13 plus 10 minutes into the second half. And yeah, they came back. But at the end of the day, the Dolphins on either side of that game have given up 58 points to Manly and 64 points to the Roosters. So it was actually the weaker of the three there of the Broncos scoring. And the Dolphins are very much susceptible to huge scores at the moment. They shouldn't be giving up a huge score to the Titans, but, we don't know if the Dolphins are just exhausted from the season. That should be 6 again, a billion times out of 10, but they're not going to call it. Third tackle for the Broncos at the 3. And then you've got this game here against the Knights, and the Knights are the most most pitiful team of the competition right now with the Gold Coast Titans. They're both just as bad as each other. So it's like, these aren't huge tests, and next week isn't too against the Cowboys, but the week after against the Storm, sure. If we can see that the Broncos spine can kill it against the Storm, and the Broncos will score. So 40-12 here with the kick to come, 6.5 minutes to go. I actually wouldn't put a 50 bomb out of the equation. The Knights are falling apart like usual. So no, I will disagree with you and say that this, because you haven't said that this spine's better, but you're alluding to it, and I'll say no, I don't agree. Especially with Billy Walters isn't a 6 of mine. Like, at the end of the day, they should be putting their score past the Knights. Most teams do. Even the Titans beat them twice this year. Even the Titans. And they were down 20-0 in one of those games, and it was here at McDonald's-Jones Stadium. So this isn't a good test. But a lot of people will look at individual games and make their entire opinion based off of individual games without looking deeper into kind of the teams they're playing and the teams they're playing and how they've played in recent weeks kind of deal. They'll just look purely at the Broncos are scoring 40 points here against the Knights. They'll just say the Broncos are now back. And it's just like, well, not necessarily. Most teams should do that. Every team should do this in this game. But that's not me also taking away from the Broncos getting the 2 points and guaranteeing themselves for the 8. That's great. That's fantastic, especially with all their injuries right now. But every team has injuries, and they should be doing this against the Knights. Mike White says Jake Paul actually fights from Puerto Rico. So it's Jake Paul, yeah, and reps our flag in his fights. He signed Amanda Serrano, who is our best female boxer. Yeah, I know Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor and whatnot. Michael Hunt says USA time zone for NRL is horrible. Yes, you're right, but also don't care too much about that. Because there's more. Ben Hunt will miss the kick. It will hit the post and it will stay 40-12 with 5 minutes to go. So yes, again, sure, correct. The time zone is awful, but I can tolerate that for the ability to watch all the American sports at a good time slot. Because there's only one game on Thursday, 2 games on Friday, 3 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. There's just that slot of awful time slots, but you can kind of go to a baseball game and then come home and then stream. So like you can get a vlog out for the Chicago Cubs, or you can get a vlog out for the Chicago Bulls, and then you can come home and stream the rugby league. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's the ability to do that. Oh wow, Broncos actually did well there. No, it's going to be a dropout for the Broncos. Sean James says massive flog. I think he's talking about Jake Paul as a flog. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with you replying that, Microwave. It's just obviously people have their opinions on. He jumped from the outside of the field to play, so it will be a dropout for the Bronx. Nothing wrong with you referring to Jake Paul. I did mention that, but they're just saying what they think of Jake Paul. Race Predator Walsh is crazy. Dasman says the word flog is a derogatory term to describe a person considered to be pretentious, conceited, or foolish, and evidence suggests it is Australian. Yeah, flog is like a. If you don't know what flog means, flog is like calling someone a dickhead. Like that could be an easy one. Just compare it to that effectively. It's not like a sinister meaning, but it's just like a wanker, a knobhead. All right, so the Knights will be third tackle, 7 minutes out from the line, like a prick. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can use that word. See, I wanted to use the word wanker, Sean, but also wanker could be maybe not as understandable as well. But yes. And that's going to be a mistake there from Newcastle. Oh, no, it's going to be a penalty. That's going to be a penalty, actually, to the Knights. Take the 2, Newcastle. Take the 2. Well, this is just confirming the Titans just need to win one game, and they'll avoid the spoon. You play a Dolphins team that's given up 160 points, and you play a Tigers team that's won 3 spoons in a row but have been better this year. Please, Titans, just one of your last 2 games. This Knights team isn't winning. They're just not. Oh, the Broncos are away here. Broncos are away here after a knock-on from the Knights, and this is going to be a TRY try time. You would assume, does he have the pace? No, he doesn't. Josiah Payne doesn't have the pace. It was Dean Mariner. It was Dean Mariner, not Josiah Bunny. Apophis with a $50 donation. Get around your Apophis. Says, here's your 50 for the Brisbane 20-plus bet. Yeah, they slapped it in today. Well, I did go a little bit askew with the other two ones. The other two ones were what? Kieran Foran score, which was close at one stage. He nearly got there, but Jordan, that's pathetic defense. And it's going to be 44-12 with the kit to come. That'll be 46-12. I went a bit askew with the other two ones, Kieran Foran, and then the other game was. It wasn't Raiders to win, was it? I think I was originally going to go Raiders to win, didn't I? What did I end up changing it to, guys? Because originally I was going to go Raiders to win as the underdog, but I think I changed that because of that. And the Raiders did win. I should have kept it. But originally I was going to go Raiders to win, and then Kieran Foran to score a try as an outlier, and then this game Broncos 20+, and I think I changed it to something else. Oh, the other was Coates 2 times tries. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was originally going to go Raiders to win, which I wish I had kept it, but no, I did change it to Coates 2 times tries. He scored one. But Jacob Kiraz did a pretty good job on him on the wing for the most part. But yeah, thank you very much, Apophis, for the donut. And they will get the conversion. 3:40 to go. It is a 4-point game away from the Fitty Bomb. James Stevenson, when we beat the Storm, you'll believe. No, I won't. No, I won't. James Stevens, how about this one? How about I ask you this? How about if the Broncos... I don't know what I could do for you, because I don't know if you would actually do this. If the Broncos don't make the preliminary final, because you think they're going to go all the way. If the Broncos do not make the preliminary final, you donate $30. How about that? Just a simple one. Because you're the one who believes the Broncos are going to win the comp. So I'll give you to the preliminary final. I could be a dick and say grand final, but how about that one, James? Because you're very heavy on the Broncos to win. So if the Broncos don't make the preliminary final, you donate $50 to the channel. How about that? But yeah, thank you very much, Poppers. Dasmate says, good way to celebrate the 95 reserve grade Knights Premiership. Killzer says, I had Broncos tip 13+ over 46. Easy dubs, was worried a bit there. Yeah, got a little bit nerve-wracking the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, but overall, the Broncos might still score 30 here. That's right. Frank says, what's your favourite breed of dogs or cat in your... You know the game's a shithouse when we're getting asked what's my favourite breed of dogs or cats in your opinion as a pet. I love a good Labrador, mate. I grew up with a Labrador. Broncos get this ball to the corner here. Where will the bounce go? Knock on. Knock on, Broncos. I love a good Labrador for a dog. For a cat, I really wouldn't have any idea, dude. I really wouldn't have any idea about breeds and stuff, but I would go a Labrador. Mike Rose says, I took -26 when you talk about Knights being bad in the second half. It's looking good. 22, 32, 42. Oh, yeah, no, it's guaranteed. That's 34 points. Yeah, no, it's not possible. The Knights aren't scoring 2 tries in the last 2 minutes. Jay says, Frank Blazers not even going to read this comment. Kindle says, Broncos can't win. Raiders will storm this year. I think storm, but yeah, Raiders... I loved that performance against the Panthers overall. For them to not be great for 60 minutes, but still find a way to win in such amazing fashion. And drop ball there from the Knights, and the Broncos will get at the knock on from the Knights. Broncos get the ball at the 45. So there's still a chance here at the Fitty Bomb. They might not blue ball us. James says, I'm an old man. I've got no idea how to super chat. Well, how about this? There's the money thing there. Obviously, not for now. We're still talking, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks away. We're talking 5 weeks. 5 weeks away, or when the Broncos get knocked out of the comp. I'll remind you. How about that? Because you are very confident in the Broncos. Preliminary final. If it's too much money for you, man, just say no. Like, just straight up. Like, this is just obviously a little bit of banter and a bit of fun. Olivia Reed with the $8 donation. It's another day, another donut. I almost forgot. Whoops. How dare you, Olivia? How dare you? I was starting to cry internally. Oh, Josiah Katapani with a good step. He'll get this ball to the 40. Please don't blue ball us here. Thank you, Olivia, for the $8 donation. Please don't blue ball us here, Broncos. 5 weeks to teach James to donate. We've got 5 weeks. It could be 3. It could be 4. Largan says, well, he only ate one. Dasman says, is Garfield a breed of cat? Yeah, Garfield is a breed of cat, mate. Don't forget, in 10 minutes' time, we'll be live for the final game of the round, Tigers versus the Cowboys. We will be live. 5 weeks to TAFE course. We will we'll feed you, we'll drip feed you, James. We'll drip feed you for it. And now the Broncos will get this ball to the 25. 4 tackle, 30 seconds to go here in the game. Just one try, Broncos, so I can do a Fitty Bomb dance. Come on. Come on. One try. Jordan Riggy. He's 10 metres out, fit tackle. Here we go. Come on. Come on. And Tyson Smoothie kicks it through, and you've blue balled us. Sons of bitches, you ain't coming a fraud alert now. I would have taken your fraud alert too. I would have done it, but now I'm not doing it. I refuse now. Oh, the Knights kick that ball through, and it's going to be Broncos ball, 5 seconds to go. It's going to be a penalty to Newcastle. Richard Ty says, Reece Walsh is my best player. He'll take Broncos to the grand final. That's great. Why are you replying to Apophis for that? Why are you replying to Apophis? And there's a sim bin here for the Broncos. Yeah, fraud's confirmed. Scott Jones just needs Storm at the grand final. Scotty, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Gamachi Masaki will face 10 minutes in the sin bin whilst the clock is on 0. It's on 0. Andrew says, 1 try and the Knights can't win the comp. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is they've already had 50 points put past them. Actually, have they? Actually, have the Knights? Because their defense, for the most part, has actually been pretty good most of the year. Not now at all. Not now. They've definitely fallen off the cliff now. They have not conceded 50 this year. No, they haven't. This is their highest conceded score. No, it's not. Panthers beaten 48-12. Raiders beaten 44-18. Oh, Knights here. They kick it through and pick it up, Broncos, and go the distance, you dogs. Oh, they don't do it. They're dogs. Well, the final score, 46-12. Their second highest score put past the Knights this year. Jeez, they've been giving up points. Look at this. Look at their last 4 games, the Knights. They've given up 44 points to the Raiders, 48 points to the Panthers, 38 points to the Cowboys, and 46 points to the Broncos. This team was the second best defensive team in the comp halfway through the year, despite being in second last. Despite being in second last, they were the second best defensive team in the comp. Now, they're giving up points for fun. They've got the Sharks and Eels to finish off their season. Which honestly it couldn't come fast enough. The Broncos, obviously, they will jump into 5th position now, but they still do have next week's Cowboys game, which they should win, but it's a rivalry game up there in Townsville. They have guaranteed themselves to the top 8 with that win, and now they have the Storm as well, which will be interesting, considering that Harry Grant probably isn't going to be playing, and we'll have no Jerome Hughes, but also a storm. But anyway, guys, we're going to jump off because in 8 minutes' time, we'll be live for the final game of the round, which is the Tigers versus the Cowboys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as per usual. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And I'll see you guys in 8 minutes' time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Booshka. See ya.